Joining us tonight is Jake Rattlesnake.
I like to go by Lord Rattlesnake or Lord Jake, most base chat of all the lands.
You don't have an argument. Present your paper or shut up.
Everyone's view is definitely inherently biased. So this is when debate becomes very interesting. I can hear what you're saying, but then I can see that you're dressed as a cat.
I'm a dog.
You said you like to go play fetch.
I have wolf, yes.
So how does that tie into your relationship? Like, what are you looking for if you're a dog? Yeah, I think that Don Jr. will be president one day. If I was a gambling man, I'd put money on that.
Founder of Rattlesnake TV, Jake.
Man, I really appreciate it, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to everybody today. Great to see some regs in the chat. Who have we got here? More Salary has changed her name to More Sarah Tops. Crucible Crusader, Red Fox. Me and Red Fox were just having a laugh in DMs because Cool Vic called him a white knight in his thumbnail. Oh, that's funny. Called him a white knight in the thumbnail. Me and Red Fox were having a laugh because it still made Red Fox look like a Chad in the thumbnail. Blaine Pasashik, the great man. Miss D. Smoke Tuna's up in here. Forever Zero. Chris Dealney, Cat in a Bat, Wicked Dream. Whoa, boys, big crew tonight. You love to see it. Moorhead kicks it off and says, "Sup guys, smash that like button. Let's hit that goal. Also, if we super chat more, it'll make the stream start faster." Let's also grab Miss D, a well-deserved smoko.
Come on, Smoko. So leave me alone.
Need to update this soundboard soon. I need to get a Brian Shapiro sound of some sort going on there. There's plenty that we need to do in terms of the soundboard, but I'm going to be updating that very soon. So that should be good. But, guys, we're here tonight to talk about the breaking news. Just a quick reminder, if you guys haven't checked it out, my video on Spain that just came out, YouTube not loving that one, not loving it, but also, you know, to be fair, it's kind of a dense video. It's not like walking around having a lot of confrontations. It's more learning about the political situation in Spain, the different regional conflicts, the actual immigration crisis, how it's all happening. So it's kind of a nerd. It's for nerds. So if you're a nerd and you like that sort of stuff, then you'll enjoy it. If you're not a nerd, and if you don't like that sort of stuff, then you'll probably find it really boring. Let's just be honest. So yeah, check it out if you like it. If not, all gravy. Everyone's different. Stream Elements is pinned in the top of the chat, guys. If you did want to donate through Stream Elements today and not have any money taken from YouTube, that would be phenomenal. 20 and up just gets read straight on stream. If somebody could test it and make sure that Stream Elements is not bugged, I'd be really happy about that. Because I'm pretty sure Stream Elements is bugged right now. I always think that Stream Elements is bugged at the start. But anyway, with that, guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what we're really here to talk about today. Let me move this so I can see the chat properly. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. On we go. So, we've got Crucible updates. If you're not following Crucible updates, you should be. It's a great way to get Crucible updates, you might say. Let me just see. All right. So, basically, let me summarize. Obviously, Andrew goes on Joe Rogan, calls out Candace. Candace and team start flipping out and start panicking because obviously that's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. They're getting called out on one of the biggest podcasts in the world. It was going viral. Comments were very much in favor of Andrew. And so they come out and they're forced to acknowledge him. She says, "I don't know who he is. I've never heard of this person in my life." Bullshit, you have. And so she kind of has to accept the offer. Otherwise, she looks like she's just running away. They're going back and forth about this for a while. He said 500K each. She said, "No, I just want my 300K. I don't want you making any money off it." She said that you can't smoke around me. And she said that TP USA has to claim you. Andrew says, "I can't have TPUSA claim me because I don't work for them. That would be a lie, which is, I think, fair enough. You don't want to just be lying about things. And they come to somewhat of a resolution. Andrew is saying to her that I need to cross-examine your view, you need to cross-examine my view, and then we can have like an hour each or something like that. And then she says, no cross-examinations. We have to make it about Tyler Robinson, and then you can ask me questions and seem like arguing over nothing. So anyway, a lot of back and forth was going on over the last few days. I was thinking that she's going to pull out and she's going to be like, final offer, Smokey Man, big tough Smokey Man. And then she was going to pull out. But apparently, according to Crucible updates over here, the debate is back on the menu. So Andrew posted saying, okay then, bargain struck. Candace saying it's time to act like adults and work through whatever lingering hang-ups you may have, which I feel have all been sufficiently addressed. Andrew says, we haven't agreed to terms yet. You just publicly said that you were upset about there not being a specific topic. I posted one. Let's stop messing around and agree to the terms public. Easy peasy. Candace says, your debate claim has been accepted. Send your email address and we'll organise times and payment, and you can send me a list of your guest names. Just warning you, our studio is small, but we will make sure they have enough chairs to sit in the control room, and we'll crank up the AC so they are comfortable. Okay, that sounds good. That sounds all well and good. This is kind of funny. So, Andrew posted this yesterday saying, all evening, the Candace Owens people have been saying she makes no claims, so she doesn't have to defend any. They claimed that I said there was overwhelming evidence for the prosecution of Robinson, which is true. I said that, so I need to defend it, so I need to defend it. However, Candace did make a reverse claim. She said there is overwhelming evidence Robinson was set up by the feds as a patsy. I've heard her say overwhelming many times, by the way. I've heard her say these things about a lot of things. So I'll take the position that the evidence is more compelling that Tyler was a lone shooter, not set up by the feds. She takes a position of her claim, which she says has overwhelming evidence. He was a patsy put there by the feds. If she agrees, then we're all set. How the hell can anybody argue against me here? We both made claims, we both defend them.
And say, this person told me that the feds planted the gun. This person told me that the bomb dogs couldn't find it. How can you sit back and pretend that you are like a friend of Charlie Kirk because you're trying to get a patsy put into prison? Like, you guys are completely monstrous and pretending that you're on the side of morality. There was an
It's good to see her pronouncing monstrous right there, though.
Overwhelming amount of evidence that the feds set this kid up as a patsy. And say, this person told me that the feds planted the gun. This person told me that the bomb dogs couldn't find it. How can you sit back and pretend that you are like a friend of Charlie Kirk because you're trying to get a patsy put into prison? Like, you guys are completely monstrous and pretending that you're on the side of morality. There was an overwhelming amount of evidence that the feds set this kid up as a patsy.
Overwhelming. Okay. Oh, gosh. Ian Carroll. Matter. Matter. Candace Matter. Candace makes plenty of claims and those she stands by, she should defend. But this is a debate about Tyler. I can't. Ian Carroll's a woman. I can't even read Ian Carroll at this stage. He actually just annoys me that much. I can't with Ian Carroll. All right. Just on the monstrosity thing, though, this was actually hilarious. Because she said monstrousness just then. She pronounced it right, but...
It really wakes you up to the monstrosity of the gods feared this monstrosity, saw it as a demon. Facebook was a part of the monstrosity of lies, of censoring. I was just like, how can I take on this behemoth, this monstrosity? I feel so small, and of course it's David and Goliath, I guess would be the right thing to say.
Monstrosity? That's like, monstrosity is up there with Fort Tachuka. At least Fort Tachuka is kind of like arbitrary, and if you're, It's kind of a Mexican name, but Monstrosity. Yeah, I mean, Fuentes reacting to this is hilarious.
Lil can sent $20, and I'd be like, he's a monstrosity.
Is that still the, what's, oh, it's a monstrosity. You see that Candace Owens clip? She says monstrosity. I'm sorry, and I'm trying to be nice to Candace lately, but some of those clips are just hard to watch. How are you a grown-ass woman, you're a commentator, and you don't... It's like basic stuff. Monstrosity? Like, it comes from the word monstrous. I feel like that's a very easy one. You said this is the latest Candace Owens can't read clip. She pronounces monstrosity. Instead of saying monstrosity, she thinks it's monstrosity. So there's a dozen clips of her saying this monstrosity. That, oh, it's just a monstrosity. You're like, what? It's in the word. It's monstrous. It's like, you know, like a monster. Monstrosity, she says.
100.
I enjoy the Andrew Wilson Candace feud, but I have to say the Fuentes Candace feud and all the clips that come out of that have to be some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. Watching like the love affair thing that he does, and it's too funny. They need to do another collaboration at some stage. Apparently Stream Elements is PayPal only, guys. That's what's going down. So I don't know what's going on over there. There's still donos, but apparently it needs to go through PayPal. All right. So, anyways, a little bit of comedic relief there for us. A little bit of comedic relief. What do we want to go on to next? We'll go on to the Knowles thing next. So, I mean, after Andrew posted this, we'll just go into Candace's response. She said, he's still going. Yes, Andrew, I firmly believe there is evidence Tyler Robinson was set up as a patsy, and I'm more than happy to defend that claim. Can we now take this offline and organize the debate officially? This is getting exhausting, which I think is your intention. Yes or no, we aren't doing this all day again. She then says, and to be extra clear, yes, I accept the claim there is more evidence Tyler Robinson was set up as a patsy than evidence that he committed this crime. I'm willing to defend gladly with the facts of the case presented thus far. No more pivoting, say yes, and let's organize the time and payment offline. We are all exhausted by you. He says then yes. I don't know why she has to say like no more pivoting. That's not pivoting. If you're trying to lock down the terms of a debate, that's a very regular thing that people do. If you're going to have a debate, you're going to lock down the prompt, what's going to be the format and the structure of the debate, and he's just pinpointing what exactly he wants to include in the debate. And it's all fair enough. It's not pivoting. It's just if you're going to sign a contract, if you get a new job, or if you're doing really anything, you're going to be, crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and that's just what's going on. It's not pivoting. It's just what you do when you're organising a debate. To a lesser extent, even the debate that I did yesterday, I had to make sure that the prompt was right. I wish that she did the same thing because she came in and argued for something different, but, that's just life. All right, so anyways, Michael Knowles responded. You guys would have seen this if you've been following this story, that Andrew said that Michael Knowles would be a good moderator. I think this is a pretty fair call by him because Michael Knowles, he's somebody who knows debate. He's actually a really good debater. He understands logic. He's done many debates himself. He knows Candace. He's the godfather of one of Candace's daughters. It's a pretty neutral thing. Michael Knowles doesn't really strike me as a guy who's going to be taking any particular side. And so he responded. Didn't love the response, but he responded.
The first I'm hearing of it, that I have been volunteered to be a debate moderator over the murder of Charlie Kirk. I was volunteered by Andrew Wilson, who is a right-wing debate guy. I'm sure you've seen him online. He offered, I guess he was proposing a debate with Candace over the killing of Charlie and some of the conspiracy theories about it. So I was volunteered for this by Andrew. And then Candace accepted me as the moderator. It's great, I guess, that I'm like such a nice guy that I have been volunteered for this service without anyone checking with me at any point in that. So anyway, I don't know. That's percolating.
I checked with you, to be fair. I posted on X. I was like, Michael, do you accept the offer? Didn't hear back from him. The posts have been making their way around the internet. Didn't hear back from Michael myself, but, you know, I had the grace at least to ask him on X if he'd do it.
On social media right now, I'm truly, it's the first time hearing of it, so I haven't made a decision over whether or not that's a good idea.
Big fan of this suit, by the way. Love that.
Yeah, I don't, my view on the conspiracy theories generally is I don't think it's the right thing to debate in public. I kind of think that the murder of Charlie Kirk will be adjudicated in a court of law, not in the court of public opinion. And I think that the defense of Tyler Robinson will present its case and the prosecution will present its case. We've already heard a lot of this in the pretrial hearings. So anyway, I haven't made a decision on that. If you have some strong opinion about whether or not I should do that, please do let me know.
Look, I think that there are other people who could do it as well. I heard somebody say that Tim Dillon should do it. I think it was Jake Shields and some other people saying that Tim Dillon should moderate. Tim Dillon would just try and be a comedian about it the whole time and would probably just use a bunch of sarcasm. That's a horrible idea. Never moderated a debate in his life, as far as I can tell, so he'd be terrible. But, there are other people who could do it as well. I don't really have the strongest opinions about this in terms of Michael Knowles doing it. He seems like somebody who would be good for it. I think they initially offered him some cash, but Candace was like, no, only I can make money. So he could do it, whatever. There's also Myron. Myron posted, this dude's a biatch and probably needs permission from Shapiro to moderate this debate. I mean, technically he probably does need permission from Shapiro because he actually does work for the Daily Wire. And I would imagine there is some sort of contract stipulations there. Rachel says, I wish Jake could do it. That's kind. But they would say he's biased. Rach, I'd be on a flight in 5 minutes if I was able to moderate the debate, but they would say I'm biased. But yeah, I mean, it would be a good thing. Who else could do it though? Myron's come out and said he could do it. He would probably be decent. Like he would, he knows them both. He'd be respectful. He's moderated other debates before. I think that it's not the worst call in the world to have somebody like Myron doing it, if I'm honest. Trying to think about how that would go down, though. I don't know how that would go down. Michael Knowles just seems like a good one because he's quite like a, smooth cat. He's done many sort of like formal debates in the past. He really understands the rules of debate. So I think Knowles would be the best as far as I can see. But, it's not against the realm of possibility that Myron could step in and do something like this. We'll see. But what do you guys think? Have we got any names? Someone said, come on, Cat in the Bat, Sneeko. As long as he gets deported after. That would be fine by me. So Knowles hasn't turned it down, but you would imagine that with the Daily Wire contract and everything, I think Ben Shapiro, if I'm honest, would like to see this debate happen. Konstantin Kisin, look, if it was in the UK, if Konstantin Kisin was available, he'd be a very good moderator. That's another really good shout there. He's a really, really good debate moderator from what I've seen. Lex Friedman, God, if you want to put us to sleep here. Dave, you want to put us to sleep, brother? I think Lex Friedman's like hitchhiking around the country or something at the moment. You guys want to know a funny story? I went to Austin a few years ago. First time going to Austin, I was like, cool. I'm in Austin. This is where all the big podcasters live and everything. I literally had my suitcases and I was in a Starbucks waiting to check into my Airbnb, and I'm just sitting there. And literally the first person I see is Lex Friedman sitting at the Starbucks across from me, just sitting there having a coffee. And I was like, wow, okay. I guess Austin really is the place where all the podcasters are. Literally the first person I see. I get a taxi from the airport to the Starbucks. I'm there looking homeless with my suitcases in a Starbucks waiting for my Airbnb, and there's Lex Friedman. So that was quite funny. Andrew also cleared this up with Knowles because Knowles posted this photo, the Ben Affleck FML photo, saying, just to be clear, I just made the suggestion you moderate, no disrespect intended, so now I'll ask Pop properly. Would you mind moderating the upcoming debate with myself and Candace Owens? As she agreed, and I think you'd be a fair-handed and will enforce the format. Seems fair to me. He would be a good moderator, but if he doesn't want to do it, I mean, I'm sure there'll be plenty of takers. Who else is out there in Nashville? I mean, Am I doxing? Can someone tell me if I'm doxing? I think Dyer is in that part of the world somewhere. And Jay Dyer would be a phenomenal moderator. You know, he wouldn't be biased. If there's anybody who understands the rules of the game, it's him. They'd probably call him biased, though. Alex Jones, absolutely no chance. Alex Jones would be terrible. Love Alex Jones, but no. He'd prattle and talk too much. Crowder, they wouldn't do that. They'd call him biased. Michael Malice, no. I don't think so. No. Dyer would be... Okay. Well, Rachel is... If anyone gets blamed for doxing, it's Rachel, okay? Blame Rachel. Says Dyer's in Tennessee, and yes, he does say that on his streams, but they would definitely say he's biased. Yeah. It's probably a good point. So, anyway, this is hilarious, guys. Crucible updates. By the way, guys, check this out. If you're not following Crucible updates, they're up to nearly 2,000 followers, posting just Crucible. I mean, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? Go and follow the Crucible updates. So this is hilarious, guys. I mean, I've been loving these clips here. So, Candace was being HR lady, was being Karen and saying, "You're not going to be smoking around me, tough guy." Like Andrew would walk into her house, into her studio, and start chain smoking in front of a pregnant woman. Like, watch any debate that he's ever done where he's not in his house or in Joe Rogan's studio where it has ventilators and you're allowed to smoke, and he doesn't ever smoke in people's studios. It's just not something that he's ever done. So I don't know if it was for rhetorical effect that she was saying that or what. I'm not sure. But anyway, this clip emerges from No Soup for Knowles, saying how she mocked Andrew for smoking during live streams and told him that he will not be permitted to smoke during an in-person debate because she's pregnant. Bill smokes a blunt while interviewing a very pregnant Candace Owens in 2023.
Literally, I have a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and this one's due in November. I've been pregnant for 3 years.
Jeez. He's smoking a blunt in front of her and she's pregnant. But I didn't even remember this because I watched this. I covered this interview. I made a video about this interview, but I had never picked up that Bill Maher was smoking a blunt in front of next to a pregnant woman. What is going on there? Bill Maher, you absolute degenerate. Put the frickin' blunt away. There's a pregnant woman in front of you. Anyway.
So I think it's going to be weird when I'm not pregnant anymore. I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do with myself.
What's that like when you're always pregnant?
Honestly,
it's gotta be rough.
It's not. I feel like everyone has this like cultural understanding of pregnancy, and I think a lot of women play it up. Yeah.
Cultural? No, I feel like there's this alien gnawing on you from the inside.
Yeah, but it's like it's not that big of a deal. I got to be honest with you. It's like for some women, obviously, you can look at them and you can tell which ones are having what looks like an allergic reaction, right? And they have a rough go with it, but some people just do pregnancy pretty easily, and I'm one of those people that just kind of like, truly, I have a 2-year-old.
Incredible. And then we get this, guys. A very pregnant Candace Owens in the cigar room. Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles and everybody smoking cigars, drinking alcohol. I mean... My brother's missus was pregnant for 9 months. And when I have a beer, I like to have a cigarette, okay? Handcuff me now, ladies and gentlemen. Handcuff me now. But when I have a beer with the fellas, I like to have a cigarette. I would be outside in an outside area, and me and the boys would go all the way to the other side of the backyard, like 20 meters away from the pregnant woman. Isn't that just something you do, or am I missing something? Because they're all smoking cigars, but... I don't know. I guess she chose to be there. But it doesn't seem like it's a rule that she's overly zealous about enforcing. So, Andrew says for 5, sounds like Mega Mind trying to pronounce Metro City. Red Fox, where they should start off the debate, right? This would be hilarious. They should start off the debate as an icebreaker. Try and get Andrew to pronounce a series of Mexican words. Fort Huachuca, okay? Maybe Cain Velasquez. Some maybe Guadalajara, okay? Get Andrew to pronounce a bunch of them, and then have Candace try and pronounce monstrosity and try and pronounce architecture and a few of the other words that she sort of seems to belabor. Red Fox says for 20, genius move by Andrew Wilson. He has been trying to debate collab with Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh. Might be able to get Daily Wire noticing for future debates. I'm not really sure it's about that, to be honest, Red Fox. I think he would like to get to debate them, but, whether he's like trying to get their attention and trying to do collabs with them, I'm not too sure, but maybe you're right. Maybe it does make the debate with Michael Knowles unavoidable. Maybe he has that interpersonal sort of like, contact with him and tells him that you're a girl if you don't debate me or something. I don't know. But it would be good to see that debate eventually. Why wouldn't she let MDD do it? It'd take a lot of setup. She wants to be in her studio. Bitrage says, ultimately, I don't think this will actually happen. Candace will find a way to weasel out. It's possible. I think that, but the thing is, like, the reason why this is happening, though, is because it's becoming something that's unavoidable at this stage. Like, you can only talk down to people for so long. If you've got this platform where you're getting millions and millions of views, and like that guy who came on the other day and debated me on stream, he was saying Candace Owens is a force to be reckoned with and you're going to have a really tough time. And when I said, well, what debates has she done? Tell me what you mean by that. He said, well, she hasn't done any debates, but she gossips on her show. She'll gossip about you. You can only do that for so long until like a platform like Rogan, for example, speaks about it, picks it up, it starts to go viral. That's a bigger platform. And now you have to punch up. So you can only really try and punch down for so long until it becomes apparent that you have to actually answer for your claims. Jared says, Candace is going to cancel at the last minute and say there are drop bears outside her house. That would be Rama Rama if she did that. I hope she doesn't. Big Daddy Pod says, getting Crazy Desiree and Crash Out Carly to debate it would be fun to watch. Throw in Teamy Rick James from Jubilee All-Stars and Oscars would be one. Look, here's my suggestion, okay? Candace Andrew, main event, and then we can maybe raise 20 grand, maybe 50 grand, and Ian Carroll can debate moi. The undercard. Can I get a hell yeah? Guys, I'll be out there by next Friday. I'll get rid of the jet lag. Me versus Ian Carroll. We'll crowdsource 50 grand for the guy. I'll pay it out of my own pocket. Not the 50 grand, but I'll pay my airfares out of my pocket. I don't have 50 grand. But who would like to see that? Can we get a hell yeah in the chat if we'd like to see that? Can we get some W's in the chat if we'd like to see the undercard, Rattlesnake versus Ian Carroll? Rachel Wilson for 20 says, I know for a fact Candace did not think I meant Andrew could smoke in a room with her. I think she was trying to bait me into saying something that would help her get out of debating, so I left chat. Yeah, I did see that exchange. I mean, it baffles the mind because it would just take the most basic bit of cursory research to understand that he doesn't smoke in studios. That's not something that he does. So, I don't know. It's bizarre. The investigators over there don't really seem to be able to get basic things. Darthmas says, I told Andrew his cool stream the other night that it has to be, in his cool stream, that it has to be someone who she trusts, and if, I can't see that with this new chat. There has to be someone who she trusts, and if that is not MK, then she should ask Dave Smith. Yeah. Dave Smith would be another good one. He'd be a good one. Someone that they both trust. That's actually a good call. They're both friends with Dave Smith, so she has no basis to say no to him as the moderator. Patrick, but David would be a good one. That would be a good one, but he'd have to fly out, and he's a busy man. Blaine for 20 says, they need the best mod in the business. She'd crash out. That would be good entertainment. Red Fox, I love that idea. Let's promo it, Jake. Rattlesnake TV versus Ian Carroll. you reckon we could crowdfund 50 grand though for Ian, or 20 grand or something? If the debate happens, I'd love to hear more about her dream weaving and time travel. That would be incredible. I would actually love to hear more about that myself, to be honest. All right, so we're going to get into this Z stuff soon, but with a bit of comedic relief here, and then we'll see first we'll go into Fuentes, what Fuentes said first. Fuentes, like most of us, is very keen to see this debate. And I'm happy that he came out and said it.
I'm really excited about this Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson debate. I hope it happens. Guys, we got to make this happen. Guys, fellas, what can we do to make this happen? Andrew Wilson challenged Candace Owens to a debate on the Charlie Kirk assassination. He raised $300,000 for... Does that just go to her? Does she just get all that money? He raised $300,000 for the debate, and initially she...
Well, I actually think that the money was the big factor here. I was surprised to see this because Candace Owens obviously... I don't even know how much she'd be making. There's 3 ads on every video. The videos all get over 1 million views. For that sort of viewership, you could be charging at least 10 grand per ad, I'd say in a conservative estimate. 3 ads per, that's at least 30 grand per video. If you're doing it 5 times a week, that's 150 grand. Plus, there'd be at least, I'd say, 10 grand minimum per day. I'd say probably 20 grand because of the compounding views of the other videos as well per day. Would say with a few days off a week, we'll say conservatively about 15 grand a day. 7 times 15, that's like 105. So 105 grand plus 30,000 per episode. That's another 150. At least 200 grand a week if she's making these episodes. Plus then she's got her book club, her website, her merch, which does really well. I'd say that 300 grand wouldn't be that much for her. It'd maybe be a week's pay. And that's conservative. And then her husband is a literal aristocrat whose father is like a centimillionaire. And he's like on the board of those companies and worked with his father's companies and everything. So, I mean, it looks like the money was a factor, but I don't really know why it would be such a factor because they're quite literally rolling in it. So, anyway, back to this.
He came back and said, I want $500,000. Really? She comes back with a counteroffer. She says, I want $500,000. And then she goes, never mind, I'll take the $300,000, but we have to do it at my house, and you can't smoke cigarettes, and blah, blah, blah. Now Andrew Wilson has all these conditions. He's like, well, no ad hominem attacks, and it's got to be $300,000.
No way. Is that true? Candace has a donation up for people to donate to her and help George for help in the court case? Is that true? Because she's always talking about money, money, money. TPUSA making all this money off of the hats that they sold and off of the donations. It's like, guys, I'm a content creator. I understand the numbers of these things. Like on my big days over here, if we say do a video and it gets 100,000 views in a day, and then we do a stream and the stream does well and we get donos and everything, I might make like $2,000 and that's a big day for me. Normally, if I'm going away and everything, then it gets down to like $100 a day and stuff sometimes. But that's it. Those are the big days for me. So her big days would be 20, 30, 40 grand in ad revenue and everything. So they do not need any help with the court case. I don't know what lawyers they're hiring, but that's crazy.
3.5 hours, and so they're bickering about it on the timeline. I'm like, let's just make this happen. Let's not content cuck the audience. You can't content cuck the audience. Candace Owens has been talking about this theory for almost a year now. It's time for a debate. You content cucked us with Ben Shapiro. You content cucked us with Erica Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to bring it and debate it.
That's so true. Yep. The Ben Shapiro debate was meant to happen. And then the TPUSA debate, we got content cucked again. I remember this. This is so true. She said, anytime, any place, I'm there. They said, okay, this time, this place. And she goes, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. Wow. How could you ask me to do that? Well, you literally said anytime, any place. Well, not that time and place. Okay. So, will we see a repeat?
Andrew Wilson, I want to watch. I want to see this one. This is the showdown we've been waiting for. I think Andrew Wilson's probably the number one anti-Charlie Kirk assassination truther. Well, he's in favor of the truth, but he's against the conspiracy. He was on Joe Rogan the other day talking about it. So I'd like to see it. That's going to be good stuff. I hope they get it together. They're talking about next Friday. If they do it next Friday, maybe I'll stream it. I might be out of town, though. I'm not sure. We'll see. I might not. Maybe I'll just catch it. They might not even do it, so we'll see. Okay.
If it does happen, guys, I don't know what the rules are around stream sniping, all of this sort of stuff. I probably won't stream snipe it. I'll probably just do it straight after. Because the Crucible will have the watch party, and then I'll do a live sort of reaction after, and we'll just go through the debate. Better watch. I might join in the Crucible watch party. Maybe Rachel will be in the studio. Maybe I'll abuse Mr. E over there. This is pretty funny, guys. Look at the reactions of the look at the reactions in the Joe Rogan comments. This really says a lot. Let me read them to you. I stopped doing CPR in the backseat of the car to watch this. Cancelled a vet appointment for my pooch's bad sniffer to watch this. I hopped off an Egyptian flight to watch this. I took off my knit rifle black gloves and left them in the side of the SUV to watch this. I stopped pouring concrete over a crime scene to watch this. I left my meeting at Fort Huachuca to watch this. That's all pretty funny, I'm not going to lie. Where did that even come from? That came out of somewhere over the last year or so. Came out of somewhere. I'm just not entirely sure where. All right, so we're going to go through this one now, guys. This Z girl, she's trying to sort of lap up as much attention as she possibly can through this. And then we're going to see what retarded Jimmy Dore said. I saw that Jimmy Dore made a video about this, and he's one of my favorite people to beat up on. He's one of my favorite people to beat up on. I love going through what Jimmy Dore said because the guy is literally the worst. Sean Brewers says, if the debate happens, I'd love to hear more about her dream. Oh, we read that one already. Guys, we're nearly halfway to the grift. We've got 1,600 people in the chat. If you can't contribute to the grift, that is completely fine. Just like the stream, help out to get this out far and wide. We've got 318 likes. We can pump that up, guys. We can pump that up. I'm sure if we get to 500 likes, then some people will give away memberships. I'm sure that will happen. I'm sure that there are some benevolent chatters in here that would love to give away some memberships to those who don't have one. Okay, I'm sure that will happen. All right, Z Sanchez over here, the head of UNF America. Have a listen to this contradiction.
Candace Owens just reached out to me and I was not expecting it. So
you are the person that has done everything that you possibly... Look at that face. I can't look at it, guys. I almost want to turn... What's that movie of that? Someone's going to tell me what the movie is of the guy who has that deformity. What's that movie again? It's a love story as well. He looks like a what does he look like? Why can't I think of this vegetable? I'll think of it. But anyway, hard to look at, distracting. But yes, she, not The Mask, not Goonies, not Vanilla Sky, maybe Elephant Man. Potentially Elephant Man. Anyway, so basically she spent her whole entire career so far trying to basically destroy Charlie Kirk, destroy his legacy, destroy everything that he ever worked for. These people literally went around to the college campuses. And they were trying to just counter everything that Charlie Kirk did. Okay? That's what they did. They were calling him a fascist. They were saying he's the biggest danger to America. If you are a friend of Charlie Kirk, this is your enemy. This is your absolute enemy, okay? All right, we've got to watch more.
Let's talk about it. This is the first time you're seeing me. I'm the largest counter organization to Turning Point USA on the left, so don't forget to follow me. Okay, really quick to catch you up. So yesterday, drunk fat boy Andrew Wilson decided to pick a fight with Candace Owens, and let's just say it didn't go so well. So this idiot decides to challenge Candace Owens to a debate on the Charlie Kirk conspiracies. And he offers her $300,000 of his own money to do this, which again, I don't even think that he has. Candace has just one simple request. That Turning Point claims him and says that he is being sent in as the representative to debate on their behalf. For stupid as Turning Point is, they would never claim this fuckwit. He was gracious enough to just be like, fine, we can do it under your terms, but it's gonna be in my studio. You're not gonna be smoking.
So now she's sort of literally like guzzling Candace Owens' nuts over here. Candace is gracious enough. It's some simple request. She's gracious enough. Really? Now you're a Standis? Now you're a Standis? What is going on here? Like, is it just me, or am I tripping out here? Let's reiterate this, guys. Unfuck America was literally created to try and destroy Charlie Kirk's legacy. Everywhere that he went, they would follow him around. They would call him a fascist, the biggest danger to America. Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, and now Candace is buddy-buddy with Un-F America, reaching out to each other. Candace is so gracious. If you can't see what's going, like if I had a buddy who was, so God forbid, I had a friend who is in the public limelight, who's a professional debater, God forbid, touch wood, that anything bad like that were to ever happen, okay? And then I started doing an investigation about his murder, and then all of a sudden, me and his mortal enemies, the people who were trying to destroy him and humiliate him and publicly defame him all the time, become buddy-buddy on X. Guys, never watch my content again. Disown me and call me out every step of the way because I've lost my fucking mind at that stage. So, anyway.
Around me while I'm pregnant. And this is really the funny piece of all of this, is that Andrew Wilson literally said that Michael Knowles was going to be the moderator, but he didn't even ask him, and this was his response. Let me tell you one thing, this shit would never have happened under Charlie Kirk's watch. This is literally just like the worst.
This would never have happened under Charlie Kirk's watch. So, is that like an homage to Charlie? Are you giving him a shout out? Charlie was good at what he did. You guys tried your best to destroy him and everything he ever built. This would have never happened under Charlie Kirk's watch. Okay, well then, by your logic, he's literally your mortal enemy. So, wouldn't that be a good thing? I don't know. Wouldn't the opposite of Charlie be a good? I don't know, guys.
Worst political strategy I've ever seen. Ultimately, you guys are so fucking stupid at Turning Point USA that you're going to make the left and the right team up against you guys. So here's the thing, Candace, if you're watching.
Oh yeah, guys, the left and the right. Let's all hold hands and sing Black Eyed Peas, Where Is the Love? That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a new populist movement that is Mamdani and it's Candace Owens and it's Un-F America, because these guys are all really good at organizing political coalitions. If you haven't noticed, Dean Withers, Brian Shapiro, Sarah the Raging Tomato, Z Cohen-Sanchez, Candace Owens, they all pretty much see eye to eye on everything. They're great. They never fight with each other. These organizations that they start going and countering TPUSA and the likes, they are brilliantly organized, and it's not like they just literally collapse and capitulate after 5 minutes because somebody used the wrong pronouns or something. It's the Mamdani Candace Owens coalition, guys. And we're all here for it.
Watching this, put me in, coach. Let's fucking go, because I'm tired of these people. Definitely didn't see that on my 2026 bingo card, but if you want to see more updates, remember to follow me to Unfuck America.
Oh, brutal. Brutal. So, it baffles the mind. And if people can't see it, I don't know how I can help you. Joseph Romano sent 10. Good to see Joseph Romano here. Character handing over a cup of coffee saying, for you. Thank you. She looks like Hunter guy from Jumanji. Dartho says, Z always looks like a poodle who just came in from the rain. Very large poodle. Crimson King for 20 says, D loves Candace because she is doing what she can't, destroying Charlie Kirk's legacy. D is just a tool and not even a useful tool. I mean, yeah. Exactly right, Crimson King. Candace is destroying Charlie Kirk's legacy and the organization that he spent his life building. And so she's gleeful about it. Yay, Candace. Charlie's best mate doing what they couldn't. They could never gather a crowd to destroy TPUSA. She can. Undated said she looks like Spiderus. I don't know who that is. Asmongold would be a great moderator. He has experience doing it. I don't know. Maybe. Z is a female socialist monster. Yeah. So, anyway, guys, let's go. We got to move on to Jimmy Dore. As much as I can't stand this guy, we've got to do it. David said, why is it that some of these libs have the most insufferable voices I've ever heard? I wonder if that's part of the liberal likability problem. It most definitely is. It most definitely is. None of them sound good. Z is aesthetically Semitic. I didn't say it. I mean, I was thinking it. We were all kind of thinking it, but you said it, Type Herb.
We offered Candace Owens after $300,000 to do a debate.
He says 300K. Let's make it 500K, right? I just have the
Let's see what Jimmy Dore comes out with here, because this guy is literally, every time I watch him, all Jimmy Dore does is just spout bullshit. And he'll just run with things with absolutely zero evidence whatsoever. But I haven't seen any of this, but I'm assuming he's just going to do the same thing.
It's a feeling, gut instinct that you're maybe being backed by Turning Point USA or their affiliates. And this is actually, I would say, the most important part for me. This is what has to happen. Third part here. He claimed you after
Wilson, and he considers himself a master.
Wait. There's going to be... So I just spilt water all over myself. Yes, guys. I tried to take a sip and spilt water all over myself. It happens. I'm assuming that there could be pickle jar here. There could be, the Ulick sniz. There could be a bit of that,
Ulick sniz.
Could be a bit of that. Or he's just going to say that he's basically bought and paid for by TPUSA, by Israel or something like that. That's my guess, anyway.
Debater, which, anyway. But he recently got hired by TPUSA to go live for them. And
I promise you I haven't seen this, guys. I just know that this guy is so dumb that he's just going to go out and say things with absolutely zero evidence whatsoever. He got hired by TPUSA to go out and lie for them. Well, where is the evidence of that, Jimmy Dore?
And here's what... Well, he got paid to go teach them how to lie better. Here's what he said.
TPUSA hired me to go down and train its new crop of debaters. So that's what I did.
So they're paying him to go around and be a propagandist for TPUSA. He'll tell you it's just to go teach them how to lie better. But here, guess what? He was on.
How? It's the state of play, guys. It's the state of play, honestly. I saw another Fuentes clip today that was just basically imploring his audience and the people who listen to him to just please stop with the conspiracy slop about absolutely everything, because it completely and utterly undermines proper conspiracy theories. Things that actually deserve attention and things that actually deserve like a rigorous investigation into by people who really know what they're doing and people who know how to let the facts be the boss rather than let their ideology or let their preconceived notions be the boss. And I completely agree with that take, because people like Jimmy Dore, I mean, he gets millions and millions of views just spouting lies and complete garbage. I think I would literally give my left arm to be able to just sit down in a 3-hour debate with this guy. I think I would. As long as we could crowdfund a prosthetic for me. Maybe we could get Zelensky's wife's company to supply it. Anyway.
And the reason I bring this up is because he was on Joe Rogan and he said this.
We offered Candace Owens after $300,000 to do a debate. They're like, we'll give you 300.
Again, like, you hear Candace saying, who's we? Who is the we offering $300,000? Not this guy. Where are you getting that $300,000 from?
Jimmy Dore. This is the thing. The news cycle, guys, when you're a content creator, it's so tempting to just like go with the news cycle, whatever's trending, whatever the story is, and just like run with it because you want to be first. But this is why it's important to have people who help you with research, and it's important to have people around you who keep you accountable. If you're going to make a claim that is unsubstantiated, or if you're going to make a claim that makes you look stupid, then it's important to have people around you who will keep you in check. Luckily, within our orbit, we sort of have that. If I ever make really stupid claims, then I've got, you know, people like Andrew and Rachel and even Dyer and people like this who will fact check me or whatever, who will check me if they need to. I've got the audience here. I've got my researchers. Miss D's always doing great research, supplying me with a bunch of information. So I'm pretty well prepped when I go into these sorts of streams. Jimmy Dore has no fucking idea what he's talking about, and it would only take a cursory little bit of research to actually find out and figure it out. The we here is Brian Atlas and Andrew. Brian Atlas offered, I think, 100K, and Andrew offered to put up the other 200K. One of the most super chatted channels in the entire world, definitely one of the most super chatted channels in the United States. That's who we is, okay, Jimmy? That's who we is.
Huh? Is it from some, I don't know, TPUSA who gets the money from their Zionist donors? Is that where you get the money from? Because that's what I think you're getting the money from. Okay, so 300, here we go.
Jimmy Dore has a feeling, guys. Jimmy Dore thinks that's where you're getting the money from. Okay.
Candace Owens offered $300,000 to do a debate. They're like, we'll give you $300,000.
What is her position? What does she think happened?
She thinks that Israel worked in conjunction with TPUSA and Erica Kirk to murder Charlie.
Based on what?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Nobody actually knows. She's never presented a single shred of evidence thus far.
Okay, that's just a lie. We've covered all the evidence that they're just exactly mountains of evidence that it wasn't Tyler Robinson, that this is a 100% frame-up job, a cover-up. And if it's not, if it really was Tyler, why are they doing the cover-up? Why did the cops' a body cam all of a sudden just go off when they had to plant the screwdriver? Why does the video show that it's not Tyler Robinson on the roof, that it's some military guy doing a crawl, and he doesn't even have a rifle? Why did they cover up the crime scene and pave over it? Right? Because that's not what you do. Why did they not secure the crime scene? Why did they not have an ambulance there? Why did they pretend that a 30-06 bullet shot by this guy who's a horrible shot landed perfectly and then didn't have an exit wound? Why did Andrew Colbert lie about what the doctor said about him stopping? Why did they cremate his body? Why did they get rid of the evidence? Why? There's just a million and million. And why can't Andrew Colbert and all those guys stop lying? Why doesn't Blake Neff know where he was on the day Charlie got killed? Why did he lie about where he stayed that night? Why did they lie about the text messages where Charlie Kirk said he could no longer support the pro-Israel cause? Why did they? It's just there's a million things.
This guy's like gonna die soon. He's that old. You've been in the broadcasting industry for so long. He used to work for the Young Turks, which makes a lot of sense, by the way. And he doesn't understand the concept of evidence. Me asking and shotgunning a bunch of questions does not provide any evidence, and it certainly doesn't substantiate your claim that it was 100% not Tyler Robinson who did this. If you shotgun a bunch of questions about the circumstantial things that were happening around that day and all of these sort of things that you are incredulous about, that doesn't provide any evidence. And Tyler Robinson's defense have not used this once. Okay, we haven't seen Tyler Robinson's defense, who are paid to do this, use any of these questions that you have, Jimmy. Someone needs to clip this up. Jimmy Dore, if you have the balls to do a debate about this, please make my day, friend, and come and do a debate about it. Okay, you have all of these questions. You're clearly absolutely incredulous about this case. If you want to do a debate about it, and if you really want someone to contend with all of these questions that you have, then please reach out to me and we'll do the debate. In good faith, no ad hominem attacks or anything like that. But if you want somebody to debate, Jimmy, I'm your guy. Okay? If you've got so many questions and if you're upsetty spaghetti about it, reach out to me. Let's do a debate. But for some reason, I don't think that he would. What are the super chats saying over here? Sean Brewer says, alternative media running into some of the same problems that the traditional media did. Tons of lying, out of context clips. Some things never change. It is a problem, guys. It is honestly a problem. The alternative media, we all... Look, I was thinking about this a lot actually over the past few months in terms of alternative media and them sort of taking over from traditional media, and we're happy that traditional media has died and that there's other voices out there now and that they don't have such a monopoly and the information isn't so centralized and that we don't have to go into our living rooms and listen to the box to tell us exactly what to think. But definitely there are some big problems with it. But when I was thinking about it, I was watching the Rupert Murdoch documentary on Netflix. Really good one. It's like a series. Kind of inspiring, I'm not going to lie. Rupert Murdoch's kind of a Chad. But anyway, I was looking at some of the big media scandals that people like Piers Morgan and everything, for example, were involved in, and the paparazzi and the way that the paparazzi used to act. And I was like, the paparazzi are literally like Jimmy Dawes. The paparazzi were probably way more scummy than even Ian Carroll and Jimmy Dore and people like this, or even the worst of the sloppers on YouTube who will just try and put things out first. That was their whole MO. Story first. Doesn't matter about the facts, story first. So I thought about it for a little while and I was like, actually, no, fuck those guys. Like, completely and utterly fuck those guys. I actually think that the alternative media does a better job. MDD says, Andrew throwing pearls to swine. This is a cult. Rock on, Lord Jake. Thank you, sir. Children continually ask why. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And look, there are a few people in the chat here who are agreeing with Jimmy. So look, we've got nearly 1,700 people in the YouTube chat here. Nearly hit the goal, by the way, guys. We've got 100 more. We'll hit that initial goal. That'll be good. If anybody does want to come up, just send it. It'll be much easier if you send it in a super chat, even if it's $2 or something. Say, Jake, I want to come up and debate you about these claims. You can come up. I'll send you the link. All right? We'll have Miss D or someone send you the link.
Right? But let's watch Joe Rogan completely, easily exposes this guy for being a fraud. Watch this.
Israel ever worked to murder Kirk, that Erica Kirk certainly didn't. In fact, her position for the longest time was, if Erica Kirk comes out and tells me to stop the conspiracy on this, I will. So Erica did. She went out publicly and she was like, enough. You're just causing more problems than good here as this investigation's going on. And then suddenly Erica's now part of the conspiracy. by the next day.
Who rated, guys? Cleve raid. Ortho Bros incoming. You love to see it. You love to see it. Crimson says, love how people think you need to be black ops special forces with 40 years of experience to use a power cannon. Yeah. And to do a crawl. I mean, to get on a knee and do a crawl. I mean, guys, far out. I'm no military man, but I don't think that it would be too hard for me, especially if I'm trying to keep a low profile and not be seen. Like, I think I'd probably do a crawl of some sort. And maybe Tyler Robinson did some Boy Scouts or something. That must mean that he's special ops. I mean, I've played my fair share of COD, guys, back in the day. I played my fair share of Call of Duty. When I got my gun, all right, I get down on one knee and I crouch down behind and I smoke the ops, you know? Rachel says, second super chat, you can view something very interesting and cool, which was recently put on my account on the platform that is owned by the world's richest man. Rach, if you could WhatsApp it to me, I can anything you want to WhatsApp to me, Rach, I can pull it up. Wood says, before a debate, Jimmy needs TPUSA to claim you. Yes, that's the big problem we're running into.
She's trying to cover it up. She's part of the conspiracy too. Mm. When I went to the TPUSA HQ, and I talked to Erica briefly while I was there, the first thing I did was what I think every normal, moral human being would ever do. I gave her a hug. And I told her how god-awful sorry I was that happened to her.
He's such a good person. That's what I like. He's such a normal, good, moral human being.
Yeah. Actually, He's a pretty good guy. That's why he's a homie, you know? Unlike you, Jimmy. You are a complete scumbag. What even is that face? Is that one of the most beta things I've ever seen in my life?
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. What is that face? Were you trying to be cheeky or something?
What a used car salesman this guy is.
Like, can you even imagine how that's got to feel for her?
To be fair, though, he would be a pretty good used car salesman. I could see him being a pretty good used car salesman, to be fair.
Especially now that she has tens of thousands of people accusing her of murdering and conspiring to murder and then cover up what happened to her own. I mean, that's like mind-boggling psychological torture on a level that I've never seen.
Yeah, and hindsight is 20/20, but given the reaction, I think it probably would have been better for her to like lay low for a little while. The going out with the sparklers was not a great idea. Like all that was not a great idea because it just seemed insane.
Didn't see that coming. Didn't see Joe Rogan saying, yeah, you know what, though? She's insane. Okay. So that's what he said on Joe Rogan.
The thing that Andrew agreed with live. Convenient place to stop the clip, hey? Convenient place to stop the clip, where they then go into it after. But this is the thing. These people only operate on clips that they see on X. Jimmy Dore, so old that he's going to die soon, okay? Been in this game forever. Journalist, reporter, independent reporter. Doesn't have the wherewithal to go back to the podcast and listen to the clip in its full context. But if he did that, unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to do the sort of clickbaity stuff that he's doing here. And that's just the unfortunate reality here.
And by the way, someone did ask him, hey, where'd you get that money? Hey, you're not offering your money, though. Tell us where the country of origin that money you're offering comes from. I still don't know how you are. I still don't know who you are, but you're not a very smart person. Not everybody can be bought. He says, well, let's just assume for a second that the Jews gave me the money to offer up to Candace. So he won't tell you where the money came from. And he tries to...
No, the thing is, though, like, he actually does. That's the thing, Jimmy Dore. If you did a cursory amount of research, you'd realize that he does, because Brian Atlas put up 100, and then Andrew put up 200. And then he said that he would crowdfund the rest of it. And he said explicitly, this money isn't coming from TPUSA. I'm not working for TPUSA. I'm representing myself. But, you know, this is just lies from a mission. This is what these people have got to do.
Pretend like you're an anti-Semite, the Jews. So it's all, you see all the underhanded dealing from the bottom of the deck bullshit chicanery Mr. Great Debater is trying to pull on a Twitter thread. I would, if I was in her shoes, I would take the money and destroy the opposition in a debate, then laugh all the way to the bank. Well, guess what? Candace Owens has a response because she saw that on Joe Rogan, and here's her response.
I said, I have a counter offer. He says 300K. Let's make it 500K, right? I just have the hunch, this feeling, gut instinct that you're maybe being backed by Turning Point USA or their affiliates in this debate request. It's just, you don't strike me as someone that has 300K lying around for conversation. I mean, not with that smoking habit in today's economy, right? And given the fact that Turning Point USA has raised $40 million in one night off of Charlie's blood, literally encasing his bloody microphone at a fundraiser event so that his grieving widow could be captured by the camera standing next to it, I think 500K feels more appropriate. They want to invest in you. You're their guy. Tell them that's what it costs. What's 500K between old friends, right? Also, my second counter offer position point that I'd like you to meet is I'm 7 months pregnant. So if you fancy a debate face-to-face, you're going to have to travel to me. It's common decency. No time limit in the debate. Don't worry. It will be live. We will bring up any documents or evidence that you mention as a part of this case. We have a team, so you can send links live. We are happy to pause and allow you to search for any evidence that you reference if the team can't find it for some reason. No tricks, as long as you want. Like I said, live, so anybody could see if we were trying to play tricks. I as a 2A point here, you're not going to be chain smoking around me, tough guy. Okay? So you're just going to have to bring yourself and leave your cigs at home. And this is actually, I would say, the most important part for me. This is what has to happen. Third part here. Either Blake Neff or Andrew Colvett or Erica Kirk must publicly claim you first, meaning they must say that they are sending you in to debate on their behalf regarding the Charlie Kirk case. Okay? No worming away after the fact. They don't get to be, oh, we don't really know this guy, whatever. They're boosting you. You're at the headquarters teaching people how to debate. I got to tell you, from the outside, it kind of looks like Turning Point USA scraping the bottom of the barrel looking for influencers. And they've now arrived at people who are just amoral, who will lie about what people have said and intentionally misrepresent their positions.
Which is exactly what he does, and I'll show you that in a second. But let's watch some. He became famous on this one show where he would debate young women about whatever. And he would try to act like the moral superior. And it was about women, people who had their OnlyFans accounts and stuff like that. And then they would all wag their finger at them for being immoral. Well, watch what happens when one of them turned the tables on him.
Knew it,
and
guys.
Watch how he reacted.
I freaking knew it. Will we get the olive jar, or as they call it, the pickle jar, guys? Because we know what's coming now.
Helix Sniz.
That's what's coming, guys. Grandmaster Sub-Zero. What an absolute Chad. Comes in with a big 50. I appreciate that. First goal has been surpassed. Guys, if there's anyone who wants to gift some memberships to the chat, I'm sure that there would be some people who would appreciate that. Oh no, sounds like Dor is still a lefty. Oh, he was always a lefty. Too bad. I thought he might actually see the light someday. No, Jimmy Dore is a out-and-out lefty. He's a retarded lefty. That's what he is. He's an old boomer lefty. If he wasn't on YouTube right now, he'd be out with those like climate change protesters doing the Save the Planet stuff. All those grandmas who are like still coming down from the sexual revolution. That's where Jimmy Dore would be. All right, I've been to those protests before, and I've seen those grandmas. I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. He'd be out there with them, still coming down off of the sexual revolution, talking about saving the trees. Okay, if he didn't have a YouTube channel, that's where he would be. That best describes him. First time I've seen Jimmy Dore in many months. Is he right wing yet? One of us. Absolutely not. Jimmy is a fruit.
You are gay.
That's true. Myron likes Andrew and Candace. I wouldn't be against that. Yeah, I think he'd be a decent moderator.
Awesome.
Drew Wilson, who, I'm not kidding, Turning Point USA says they welcomed him to teach others how to debate. Here's him debating a feminist leftist. Her name also happens to be Charlie. Take a listen.
Well, I'll try to rephrase this. I'm going to reframe, and I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I will never be able to convince you of my worldview.
You won't.
I know. But the reason is not because I'm not a great orator, or I don't make good points, or I haven't said things which should be compelling to a person. But Charlie, I just think honestly you're too stupid to understand them.
So Andrew, can I
20 Rattlesnake TV memberships for the pause coming in from Australia. Guys, can we get some W's for Australia? That is absolutely a benevolent act from Australia.
sell you on my worldview?
Yes.
Your wife has 3 baby daddies and has been married twice before.
And you lick sniz.
Under your religion.
You lick sniz.
What is that?
Don't talk about my wife, you stupid. Shut your mouth. Shut your stupid mouth.
Your wife with the 3 baby
What did
daddies.
I just say?
Your wife with the 3
Sorry,
baby
doll, I'm
daddies.
sorry. Is she morally inconsequential in comparison to your ditch licking?
Do the men that you try to...
Do the women that you try
show
to?
your hatred against...
Do the women that you try
listen
to?
That they shouldn't,
you know, Charlie, did I bring...
women? Do they know
Charlie,
that
did I bring
wife
your
is 5
family?
years older?
Did I bring any of your family into...
Stupid.
Did I say anything about your family being stupid, Charlie? It's because...
Wow.
Let's go through it, Chuck. Let's see Jimmy Dore's reaction here, guys, because what is going to happen here? Is he going to white knight? Is he going to start simping? Is he going to start saying Smokey Man said mean words? Because Jimmy Dore sits on his show all day and basically attacks Erica Kirk, who's a woman, you know. He attacks Erica Kirk all day. He spreads lies about people. He defames people with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. But Smokey Man bad because Smokey Man say naughty word. Is that what we're about to see?
Tell me what I'm doing, which is immoral.
Wow.
So that's who he is. That's him.
Wow.
So,
Who's the background person? Is that person meant to be a researcher or something in the background?
Mr. Morality, when confronted, devolves into schoolyard insults and worse. And
Jimmy Dore, buddy, you are accusing Erica Kirk of being complicit in the assassination of her husband. You're accusing all of his friends of being complicit in the assassination, the murder of their best friend and their boss. Okay, but you're mad over
Helix sniz.
You're mad over him saying Helix sneers. That's who he is. Jimmy Dore was literally just 2 minutes ago criticizing him, saying, well, he moralizes to people. He goes on whatever podcast and wags his finger and moralizes to people. 2 minutes later, Jimmy Dore is saying, well, that's who this guy is. Look how mean he is. I'm sorry, Jimmy, are you moralizing? What an absolute old fart.
that was pretty revealing. Don't you think?
My gosh. Could the guy become unhinged faster? She's just going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Bro, where did Mick Jagger over here come from? They couldn't get Mick Jagger a better background here? Angel, angel, when will those clouds all disappear? With no loving. Okay, I'll stop.
Couldn't handle it.
Couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle it. Let's talk about your wife who's got three different daddies. And then he just snapped. You dyke.
As if that's a bad thing.
Right. Everybody needs to hold back water. I was just in Venice. Boy, do they need a good dike.
Let's just sit with that one for a moment, guys.
Girls rule. Women are funny. Get over it.
Get it? Get it, guys? Because, like, a dike is infrastructure to hold back water, and a dike is also a lesbian. He was in Venice. Let's listen again. Do you guys get that one?
Anyway, you dyke.
As if that's a bad thing.
Right. Everybody needs to hold back water. I was just in Venice. Boy, do they need a good dike.
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Wow. Comedian.
Anyway, so Candace Owens has accepted. Let's make it 500 grand because we know your money's coming from the Zionist donors to TPUSA.
We know, do we?
Let's do it.
How do you know that, Jimmy?
And
not even Candace is running with that line anymore. She's eliminated the stipulation that actually there has to be TPUSA coming in claiming him.
Debate what? Debate what? That they didn't pave over the crime scene immediately? That they're not framing Tyler Robinson? That all those influencers lied about some kind of 4K crystal clear video that showed they can't even place him at the frickin' scene, for Christ's sake. They can't connect the rifle to the bullet. How about the lead cop? I don't know who was with me up on the roof. My camera just stopped. It stopped working. The battery ran out, even though it's a 12-hour battery and you only had it running for 20 minutes.
Mystery solved, guys. Let's hear more questions, please, Jimmy. Tell us about more of your questions.
Who was talking to? So you guys got an 8-minute ride in an SUV. First of all, why didn't you do any first aid to Charlie at the scene? Why didn't you bring the medics in the car with you? There's a million. Why did you guys lie about everything? Why did Terrell Farnsworth take the SD card out of the camera immediately? Why did you let them pollute the crime scene? There's a million things.
He literally looks like a grandpa with dementia who's in the home. Why didn't you guys bring me my tomato soup? Literally looks like such a boomer right now. In his chair. Someone needs to get this guy a freaking nice rocking chair that he can just sit in his retirement home in and ask questions. And the nursing staff can come over. Okay, Jimmy. Yeah, it's 2026, Jimmy. Yep. Okay. Far out.
And look at the work Stu Peters is doing, showing that they were doing Google searches.
Guys, I don't claim to be a genius over here. I mean, I am an Australian himbo. I literally barely made it through high school. You guys have no idea how proud my mum was of me when I finished high school. She couldn't believe it herself, okay? I did terribly in every subject. In Australia, we've got what's called ATAR scores in Victoria, where I went to school. And if you get above like a 60, 70, a 70 sort of score, then you're about normal, a bit above average. I got a 58 as my ATAR score. I had to go begging universities to take me in. Please take me in. And then I went and did 4 different university courses to try and pretend to my mum like I was doing something, all right? I did 4 different courses, got myself into a bunch of debt, and the most I ever lasted was 2 semesters, okay? That's my credibility over here, okay? My mum was sitting there thinking, all right, we're in trouble here. We're in trouble here. Jake, she had to send me to London. Maybe go to London, maybe learn some life skills or something like that. But Jimmy Dore, I can safely say that he is slow, okay? I can safely say that this man is like, we're going to watch that again after I read the super chats here. Okay, Danielle, I asked Andrew this the other night. Why has she never answered why they wouldn't get her on Tucker or Ye? Wouldn't they be much bigger targets? Yeah. Daniel says, I'm so sick and tired of leftists using that. People attack using ad hominems first and then get mad when we retaliate. It's all they've got. Like, not once has Jimmy Dore tried to actually contend with a single argument that Andrew has made. Just personal attacks and then shotgunning a bunch of questions. I feel like I owe you for Jimmy Dore's retired bad jokes. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I needed it. I hate lefties. W for trans Mick Jagger comment, lol. Thank you for the 20s, guys. I appreciate that. And 5 comes in from Intel saying, after Charlie was murdered, us conservatives should have come closer together. That's what it looked like was going to happen until it all started fracturing. Back here.
Yeah, there's a million things. And look at the work Stu Peters is doing. Showing
the work Stu Peters is doing. Stu Peters, Stewie P, the freshest rapper to death, the freshest rapper alive over here. I never made it. If you guys weren't here the other day, we went over Stu Peters' rap career. Poor, that was a punishment. Guys, I don't even know what I'd rather... If I had to listen... Imagine, you guys have to tell me in the chat. You have to listen to one of 3 things. You have to listen to Jimmy Dore's prattle, Z, the Unf America lady, or Stu Peters' rap songs on repeat for a whole day and try not to lose your mind. Which one are you taking?
That they were they were doing Google searches on Tyler Robinson in Hebrew from an Egyptian plane in one of the planes that were following Charlie. Anyway,
You're investigators, ladies and gentlemen. But they were doing Google searches in Hebrew from an Egyptian plane following Charlie. Oh, wow. Okay, Jimmy. Maybe it's time for your nap, Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy? Maybe it's time for you to have your tomato soup and lay down for your nap for the afternoon. I think that's what should happen here.
A million things. No matter how about Frank Turek and Brian Harple contradicting themselves over the drone coverage.
Frank Turek doesn't even need Harple to contradict him.
Yeah, Frank Turek has been caught telling
No wonder they don't switch cams and get freaking Timu Mick Jagger over there.
contradictory stories left and right. The amazing Mikey McCoy's dad lied about what Mikey McCoy was doing. How about that bullshit story that Brian Harple told about? Yeah, I'm doing the medical. I'm doing the medical. Who talks like that? What a moron.
That's it, guys. Brian Harple was involved, and this is the evidence that Jimmy is bringing up.
I'm doing the medical, and then Frank Turek says he's doing CPR, but Brian Harple says they weren't doing CPR. Somehow Ben Shapiro gets a phone call into that car, an 8-minute ride. What? But nobody calls 911, but somebody did call 911, and nobody will say who did it. Why did they move all the people out of the emergency room at the Timpanogos Hospital 2 hours ahead of time? Why did they have a chart for Charlie at that Timpanogos Hospital 2 hours before his assassination? Where is the Rode microphone and the recording from it? Where's it?
Missed out on Devin Griff's super chat before. Sorry about that. 20 from Devin Griff saying, the Whatever and Crucible crew are not the only ones that would crowdfund. Everyone wants to see this debate occur, but she's going to back out even when all stipulations are met. Owens will create an unreasonable contingency. And also, she'll have to get paid afterwards as well. I would imagine that they would be sorting out those details, but you can't pay her $300,000 before it. You have to make sure that the actual conditions of the debate are met. So, yeah. Lord Jake, says Chris Scott. Great to see the big fella Chris Scott in there. Straight Rippin says, these morons have too many people involved in this cover-up to hold up. It would just take one person to cave and reveal everything. That's true. They just need one. Another dono for Stew Rat punishment. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we can do that to the audience. We might get a Stewie P song later on, though. He still have called himself Stewie P. Such a good name. If he's going to be a rapper, Stu, Stewie P. Yo, Stewie P, the one that everybody wants to be, want to be like me, got the bitches and the hoes up in the club. I don't know. Stewie P. Stewie Peters. I don't know. Maybe I should have been a rapper, guys. What do you think? Rattlesnake TV, Stewie P collaborating up in this B. True? Fresh? I don't know. Wait a bit.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Anyway. It was a fleeting dream.
His T-shirt. Why did you guys take the SUV you drove him to the hospital in and immediately have it steamed?
Okay, I have to point out this chatter, guys. I have to point out this chatter. Okay. This guy's name is Dog Catcher. Catches dogs, I guess. And he has told me that, Jake, your chat engagement is corny AF. Buddy has a photo of his fat arms flexing on his bed. This is the kind of thing that, like, if you went through somebody's computer archives or their, like, photo archives, they might have something from back in the day that's really cringe. Maybe they sent it to one of their friends on Snapchat or tried to impress a girl. But he's got his fat-ass arm doing a flex with his gay limp wrist like this. Like this. Bro, why are you doing this, okay? If you do the flex, just keep it straight. You don't have to have a gay limp wrist like this. And his fat ass arm, right? No definition whatsoever. But I'm corny. I'm corny. Whew. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Cleaned and sold.
They wanted to protect Erica.
So, and why is Erica a confirmed pathological liar?
Okay, where's the diagnosis that Erica's a confirmed pathological liar? Guys, how fun would it be to just take Jimmy Dore to task on all of his claims? Honestly, if I did a debate with him, I would comb through all of his content over the last year or so. And I would boy, would we get some good clips.
About everything. Why did she put a microphone on and have a close-up of her with her head stuck inside Charlie's coffin and then release it on her social media and then scream she wants privacy? Where's the videotape of Charlie saying he wants Erica to take over, going against everything he ever talked about his whole life, about a woman should be home if you can, stay home and raise your kids. Now she's not. Now she's out traveling the country, running a big or a multi-$100 million corporation. And they say, no, Charlie said so. But then they release a doctored video of him saying it. Then they go, oh, we were just punking you, after everybody realized it was a fake. It's just, no matter what part of the story you put your attention, how about Joe Kent saying that they wouldn't let him investigate it? So anyway, good for Candace Owens.
Anyway, absolutely brutal, guys. Absolutely brutal. All right, let's see what Rach has posted up on Twitter here, because I think that Rach had some good stuff she wanted to show us. Very nice. I think this was what we were talking about here. Let me just make sure that this is the thing. Peanuts posted the clip on Twitter. Love to see it. All right. Good. So Rach comes out and posts this, says, I propose an undercard between Ian Carroll and Jake for the Candy vs. Andy debate. Candy vs. Andy. Got a ring to it, doesn't it? Would love to see it. What do you guys think? Great thumbnail made up. I need to use whatever AI software Rach is using, because I was chimping out before the stream because the AI software that I'm using to make thumbnails is so shit. You guys, look how shit my thumbnail is today. So shit. But you love to see it. We're down for it. Uncensored America said that if Candace won't host it, we will go on a college campuses. Are you down, Ian Carroll and Jake? Yes. Yes. I'm 1,000,000% down. I am down as down can possibly be. Okay? I am down under, baby. We're down. The undercard for the Candy Andy would be ideal, but if that can't happen, I would also accept Uncensored America's invitation to do it on a college campus. A proper, formal, Oxford-style debate would be good. Or I'm happy to do a 3-hour debate as well. Just need to have a little bit of time, obviously, because I'm coming from Asia, and I'd need to work off the jet lag and everything a little bit. So, but yes, I'd only need really a few days. So, as long as I've got like 5 days notice or so, then we could do it. So, yes. Anyway, guys, about 1,750 of us in the chat. What an incredible turnout it has been tonight. All right. Devon says, I'll challenge you. Why didn't they preserve a fully surveyed photographed crime scene where all physical evidence that could be collected is categorized with detailed chain of custody? Yes, why don't we know all of the information from the prosecution? We got a tard that wants to come up, apparently. Okay, well, look, I've got to know what their claim is, because I'm not going to sit here and debate a bunch of the different anomalies that Jimmy Dore wants to talk about that don't prove anything, okay? As long as the person is convinced 100% that Erica Kirk and TPUSA are behind the murder of Charlie Kirk, then they can come up, okay? If we hit the Super Chat goal. Grandmaster Sub-Zero says, dog catcher. Learn how to spell you troglodyte. Troglodyte is a good way to put it. Chris Scott says, that's why I use Bob Vitar in my PFP. It's not as easy to tell I'm a fatty. Chris, I wouldn't say you're a fatty, Chris. I've met Chris at DebateCon last year, and Chris is a big man, 6'4" or something like that, and he looks like a big lumberjack. Okay. Debate Jim Bob? Debate Jim Bob on what? I think from what I've seen of Jim Bob's streams, he doesn't really drink any of the Kool-Aid, and he says wants to wait till the trial happens, until all of the evidence is put forth. There are a few things that are anomalies that are strange about the case. I think that a lot of people had the same sort of notion. There are a few things that are strange about the case. Did Tyler Robinson act alone? Definitely some question marks about that. Did he pull the trigger? It seems like the most likely thing at this stage, for sure. Could there be other people involved with him? For sure, but it looks as though Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger, and this is the act of a crazed left-wing lunatic who wanted to kill Charlie. There's every single motive in the world for these left-wing lunatics to want to kill Charlie. He was making a real impact. Was there other people involved? Potentially, but we don't know. There's not really enough evidence. Is Candace Owens' theories enough to say that somebody else did it? Absolutely not. If it goes into a court of law, have they used any of Candace Owens' theories? Could there potentially be enough to create reasonable doubt? We're going to see in the court case, right? But it's not going to be any of Candace's theories or any of Candace's anomalies or any of Jimmy Dore's questions, because they literally didn't use any of that so far. And if they go to court and then they bring Candace or Jimmy Dore up on the stand, or they use any of the evidence, then I'll be like, all right, cool. There's some good investigation work done there, and the defense lawyers are using this work that they've put forward. Great, good work. They're trying to create reasonable doubt, whatever. Okay, if people want to go and play armchair quarterback ballistics experts in their spare time, trying to pick apart the official narrative, go for it. That's fine. You do that until you go blue in the face. Okay. But then when you start saying, we know 100% that he's a patsy, or we know 100%, we're 100% convinced that Erica Kirk is a pathological liar and she was involved in the cover-up, okay, that's where you lose me, okay? Because then you're making claims about what happened. That's a very different thing. When you're saying TPUSA betrayed Charlie and they're involved in the murder, okay, that's where you lose me. When you say the French Foreign Legion were involved and the Egyptian planes were involved and Israel conspired and the FBI conspired to do this, and Kash Patel was using the number 33 because the number 33 is a part of the Freemasonic Lodge in Utah, and it was the Freemasons and the Israelis and the Egyptians and the French Foreign Legion, and then it was the Beehive community in Utah. Okay, sorry, but you've lost me. You've lost me. So, but I mean, look, if they kept it to the confines of just, we're going to question the official narrative, we're not convinced that it was Tyler Robinson, we think that there could be reasonable doubt, until you go blue in the face, go for it. I have a problem with the other stuff. Big 50 comes in from Sean Brewers, says, donation for the call-up. Oh, guys. Appreciate that, Sean. Appreciate that. For the kind words, good sir, says Chris. Thank you, sir. Stu Peter's rap name should be Stu P. Diddy. Stewie P. Diddy. Walla Balla Jim Wow. Walla Balla Jim Wow.
Level out, come on!
Okay. Where are we at? What's my intel telling me over here? What's my intel telling me over here? The claim is that Tyler Robinson isn't the lone shooter, that the government narrative is fictitious. No, you need to be making positive claims here, okay? You need to be telling me the evidence for what really happened, okay? That's what we need to be doing. So we need to get the evidence here that Erica, TPUSA, and these people are involved. That's what we need to be doing, okay? Otherwise, I'm just not interested. But anyway, we're done with Jimmy Dore for the moment. What else should we do, ladies and gents? Maybe a bit more Jimmy Dore. Maybe a bit more Jimmy Dore. Go on, then. We do love him.
This is spiritual warfare. This is demonic activity. Yeah, I'm talking about Candace Owens. In the Old Testament, Exodus.
Yeah, look, I mean, I kind of agree with AJ here. Wait for the trial. If you want to pick apart the Tyler Robinson narrative, sure, but wait for the trial. They're going to bring out all of the evidence against him. His defense is going to try and provide reasonable doubt. The FBI and the prosecution and the defense lawyers would be privy to a lot of information that we're not privy to at this stage. There is no point in you guys trying to armchair quarterback it. Okay? Smokey Bear Bad for 10 says, instead of creatine and multiple beat sessions a day, try a push-up here and there. Yeah, it's very true. That's very true. 100 every morning, guys. That's what I've been doing. My lord, can we get a smoko for Miss D? Absolutely.
Come on, Smoko. So leave me alone.
And got my wife watching your vids now, says Seth. Love to see it.
22:22 says that if you abused a widow or the fatherless, God says, I will hunt you down and kill you with the sword.
I do think it is kind of cringe to be just totally transparent when everybody's moralizing about this and doing all of the biblical stuff like Frank Turek. Look, fact of the matter is that Erica Kirk, she is a widow. Her husband was killed, factually a widow, but now she is at the helm of one of the most powerful organizations in the United States, TPUSA. And, you know, at that point, you can't be above criticism. Now, there's a difference between criticism saying, hey, you're a bit theatrical and eccentric there. It looks strange. It was on the nose. It was weird, whatever. There's a difference between that sort of criticism and then saying, she's a pathological liar honeypot who was involved in the murder of her husband. Those are two very different things. But, you know, she's definitely not above criticism. She's now the leader of TPUSA, okay? Even from our side, the idea of TPUSA now becoming a massive women's leadership summit, Nicki Minaj, Nala Ray, FemCon organization is not what we want, okay? We want to be influencing it to go in the other direction of destroying the leftists on college campuses.
As a living, right? And, you know, he's read a few Bible verses. He could spit them back at you. And he's a despicable person. And it's obvious. It's all you have to do is listen to him, and it's like I wouldn't buy a used car from that guy. He gives used car salesman a bad name, and it flies right off him. And he gets angry when people point out that he's lying. Well, here he's going to call for Candace Owens. Sounds like he's calling for her to be murdered. Frank Turek calls for Candace Owens to be hunted down and killed with a sword. What? That's Old Testament style. So he's quoting the Old Testament. I like when Christians quote the other part that doesn't include Jesus. What's changed, Frank? She's not saying anything new. None of us are. Nothing we ain't been saying for the last 11 months. The only difference is that now she's getting close to you and to the wickedness of your little cabal. And your feathers are ruffled. Man of God, you're a serpent in the garden. Your time draws near, and you cannot hide. So instead, you hiss and spit poisonous venom. You want to hear it? Listen to him.
That's what evil does. It degrades something good. And that's what Satan does.
Which is exactly what TPUSA, Andrew Colvert, Frank Neff, and you.
Andrew Colvert and Frank Neff. Interesting. Haven't heard of those guys.
Are doing to TPUSA. And Charlie's legacy. Everything he says in this video, he could be saying to a mirror. This is called 100% Carl Jung projection. Okay.
That's what evil does. It degrades something good. And that's what Satan does. In fact, what did the apostles and Jesus call Satan? He's a murderer, a liar, an accuser, a slanderer who wants to steal, kill, and destroy.
And did he call? How about a genocide? But first of all, that's exactly what the people are doing. Not Candace. They're doing financial chicanery at TPUSA. They're lying about Charlie's legacy, what he said, what he stood for. They're lying about Tucker Carlson. They're lying about the friendship they had with Charlie. They're lying about his position on the Iran war. And they're doing it to destroy everything Charlie tried to build up so they could come in with their Zionist slop and get people on board with a genocide, which is what he's doing as a Christian.
Charlie was murdered.
Thank you very much to Intel is Wild for the 5 memberships. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of all the moralizing that goes on from a lot of the Christians about this. I do think it, like, in a way, I sort of agree with Jimmy Dore a little bit about this, if I'm totally honest. All the, this is evil, and if you do this, look at this bit of scripture that I have. It shows that you're evil if you do X and Y. It's like, okay, can we keep it within the realm of the facts? Do we have to do this? Do we have to be throwing Bible passages at people? It gives them layups, unfortunately, if you're doing this. I just don't think it does any good. I mean, maybe you guys disagree with me here, but I just don't really think that the Frank Turek approach here, this is what the Bible says here, 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 and look, see, Candace Owens is evil, and can we stick just to the realm of the facts, and can we do it in a way that everybody can understand? It's going to be a lot more effective.
What have we had since then?
We've had you lying again, getting caught, doing medical.
Lies, accusations, and slander seeking to kill, steal, and destroy. Or steal, kill, and destroy. This is spiritual warfare. This is demonic activity. Yeah, I'm talking about Candace Owens. Yeah.
You could be talking about yourself.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we were... Look, obviously, if we are talking here about lies and slander and everything, I don't need to say that Jimmy Dore is the poster boy for that, okay? The poster boy. But do I think this is an effective strategy by Frank Turek? Not necessarily here. Like, I was listening to Andrew stream the other day, and he said something along the lines of, like, something that I also agree with, which is never attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity. I think there's a lot of stupidity that goes on here. In Jimmy Dore's case, I think that it's stupidity. He needs his nap. He needs to be put on his rocking chair and go and like just slowly rocked and have some of his tomato soup and go for a nap. But bit of malice there as well. But these people are genuinely not very bright. You can tell. Their ability to be able to grapple with ideas and to be able to look at things in their full context and everything, just not very bright at all. So I don't know. It seems like a very Protestant thing to do. Maybe Frank Turek is more talking to his Protestant audience here and everything, but perhaps less effective. But I don't know. I don't know what his goal is with it.
You could be talking about yourself and all the people at TPUSA.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You don't accuse people of murder without evidence, but that's what she's doing left and right. She's insinuating it left and right. That's evil. In fact, in the Old Testament, Exodus 22:22 says that if you abused a widow or the fatherless, God...
A widow!
Yeah.
God says, I will hunt you down and kill you with the sword. Deuteronomy 19 in the Old Testament economy says, if you accuse somebody falsely of a crime and you're found out, you get the penalty of that crime.
You mean like you're all doing to Tyler Robinson? Because his gun doesn't match. There's 4 different DNA and fingerprints on that rifle. You can't place them at the scene. It's obvious that didn't happen. And they paved over the crime scene, and they're all lying.
I literally can't listen to Jimmy Dore anymore. I'm sorry, guys. Does he do the same thing every time? Devin Grift says, Hanlon's razor. Intel is wild. A great question here says, Jake, one question, buddy. Elvis or the Beatles? I'm going to go with the Beatles. I know that's a controversial thing. I'm also a big fan of the King. But I'm going to go with the Beatles. They were just more prolific. You know, you ever listen to the first album, Please Please Me? That's I think that's recorded in George Harrison's apartment, their first ever album. Love Me Do. When I saw her standing there, Love Me Do, they had some of their old covers. Anna was a great song. The early Beatles stuff I really liked. Obviously the song Please Please Me as well. Roll Over Beethoven, you know, those covers. The covers, you ever hear the Beatles' early cover of Roll Over Beethoven when they were a little bit more rock and roll? Brilliant music. Then they got into a little bit more hippy-dippy stuff. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Strawberry Fields Forever, you know. Less, I like that less. But Beatles early was great. But Elvis has some big hits as well. Yeah, Strawberry Fields, yeah. What do you guys think, Elvis or the Beatles? Bocelli, yeah, true. Bocelli's amazing. You know, speaking of dementia, my great-grandfather had dementia. My great-grandfather was a very Italian man. Although recently I did actually find out that I looked into the maiden name, my mother's maiden name, and I was looking into the genealogy of it. I was doing a Candace Owens and realized that that maiden name is actually Austro-Hungarian. And he's from the north of Italy, which was a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire for a very long time. So it looks as though my lineage is Italian, but also Austro-Hungarian. My great-grandmother was more on the Italian side. But anyway, my great-grandfather had dementia. And when we were younger, he was an opera singer. He was a tenor. He used to stand up in the middle of a restaurant and he'd just start belting out opera songs, which was cool. And when Andrea Bocelli died, we'd have to remind him all the time. Kind of mean, but we'd remind him. We'd be like, no, Bocelli died. And he'd be like, no, Bocelli, dead. Yes. Or Pavarotti. I think it was actually Pavarotti that we used. No, Pavarotti died. No. Funny shit. Anyway. People are really gunning hard for Elvis here. I don't get it. Chris says he's unsubscribing. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Elvis verse On the Smoko Guy. The chats, that's what they're called.
Come on, smart guy. So leave me alone.
I think Elvis edges them out there. The more probing question is Pink Floyd or Zeppelin? I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, guys. I literally could not name you a single Led Zeppelin song. Did they do Stairway to Heaven? Is that Led Zeppelin did Stairway to Heaven? I could not name you a single song. Did they do Stairway to Heaven? Pink Floyd. That's not Sting's band, that's the Police. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, right? What do they sing? Sydney Barrett? Songs Another Brick in the Wall? Wish You Were Here? Oh, okay. I know this song. Money, yep. Comfortably Numb, sure. All right, cool. I know who Pink Floyd is. But Led Zeppelin? Led Zeppelin. What songs do they sing? Stairway to Heaven, thank you. Immigrant Song, Whole Lot of Love, Black Dog, Kashmir, Rock and Roll. Guys, I know Stairway to Heaven, but otherwise... Can we get some more questions, though? I'd appreciate that, because this is an area of music where I am woefully uneducated. Anything after, like, the 70s until the 2000s, any of these 90s music, like the 90s rock, obviously I know a bit about AC/DC because they're patriots, because they're good Australian boys, but Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd and everything, can't really say I've ever really listened to their music. As I was a child, I was exposed to the Monkees before I ever heard of the Beatles. So when I finally heard the Beatles, I was like, yo, Dudes, get your own ideas. Quit stealing from the monkeys. Give us a poll for these kinds. That's a good point. All right. I will give you guys a poll. That's a good point. All right. So who is better? We'll start with Elvis and the Beatles. See what you guys think. That's a good point, having the polls. Smokey Bear Bad says the Beatles played over 10,000 hours before becoming famous. Elvis isn't even the same stratosphere as the Beatles. Yeah, and the Beatles were just so prolific, you know. The thing is with Elvis is that he went off and tried to become a movie star. He let his management get a hold of him. And then he had to go to the war, and then he went off and tried to become a movie star, and he just went pop, basically. He was like, the Beatles were, you know, pop music singers as well, essentially, but Beatles were prolific over a number of years, and they released a lot of great albums. Elvis, his initial run was good, but then he went to the war, and then he went and started just making a bunch of movies and doing a lot of like rinse and repeat type music. And I feel like Elvis could have been amazing if he kept his creative streak his whole entire career. You know, you even listen to Paul McCartney, did great music after he left the Beatles. What was his band called again? Paul McCartney's band? Someone's going to remind me of what Paul McCartney's band was after he left the Beatles. George Harrison, Got My Mind Set on You. Ringo Starr was always sort of along for the ride. John Lennon did some good music. One of my favorite things that the Beatles ever did was the Don't Let Me Down on the Rooftop. You guys ever seen that? The last performance that they ever did together, where they're on the rooftop in, I think, New York City, and they do the song Don't Let Me Down. Dude, iconic. Iconic. All right, so Elvis has actually edged out the Beatles here. I'm genuinely shocked by that. I really thought that the Beatles would get it here, but Elvis has just edged him out. Kind of surprised by that, guys. It's 55-45 at the moment. Elton John, I mean, Cringe Biceps over here is still in the chat, which we love, to be fair. If I ever have a go at you guys, it's not personal. I still love you guys. But Cringe Biceps over here said that Elton John never wrote his music. I thought Elton John was one of like the best songwriters ever. I thought he wrote music for other people too. All right, who is better? We're going to go Pink Floyd versus Led Zeppelin. Wait till somebody tells Andrew that I didn't really know who Led Zeppelin. I didn't know any Led Zeppelin songs. He's going to find me and throttle me. Talking Heads. Good stuff. A hugely generous $100 comes in from Intel is Wild, saying Elvis is king, but Christ is God. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that 100, man. That's so generous of you. And he also said Frank Sinatra didn't write My Way, but sang it 100 times better. Now, Frank Sinatra, this is my sort of music. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. Probably Sinatra and Dean Martin might be two of my favorite musicians of all time. Love those guys. I was actually in New York a few months ago, riding over the bridge there in New York, and put on the New York song. That was awesome. That was a cool experience. New York, dun, 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 dun. And then I put on My Way, cruising along, My Way. That is one of the best songs of all time. We carried out to that shit. Jimmy is a Flag. That's so true. By Seth. Damien says, listen, Nickelback is legitimately good at and the hate for them is groupthink retardation. Listen to the Betrayal Act 3 and Because of You. Damien, let me say this to you right now. I am 100% in agreement with you. And I actually made this point on Twitter not long ago. And I got into a war about it. I was receiving heat. Glenn Lawrence agreed with me, which I'd expect. He looks like a Nickelback guy. Nickelback's music is freaking awesome. Okay? It's freaking awesome. And I'm liking seeing this revitalization of Nickelback love recently. I saw a great reel. I might even be able to find the reel recently. Actually, I can't because they'll play the music. But it was of these guys, and Nickelback was playing in the bar. And then all of these different guys, they were like, oh, Nickelback. On the date with their girlfriends, oh, Nickelback's playing. Let me go and ask them to change it. Oh, Nickelback. And then it shows them all in the bathroom together, just like rocking out to Nickelback. That is the way it is, okay? Everybody who pretends to be a Nickelback hater, and then you go listen to So Far Away for Far Too Long, and you're not rocking out to this, you're just kidding yourself as far as I'm concerned. Nickelback is freaking awesome. And I stand by that every single day of the week. They have amazing music. Don't care what anybody says. Okay? Nickelback is freaking awesome. CIA propaganda is why people are picking Elvis. Yeah, I agree. Not one step back, Lord Jake. Your countryman Quilman Scalide just won his first fight via rear naked choke. He's a great fighter. He's really coming up. I didn't see that. I'm going to have to watch the highlights after. Prince versus Michael Jackson. Could do that one soon. The US government sent Elvis to the army to try to get rid of him, and that didn't work. Blaine with a big 20 comes in and says, Jake, you coming out on street? Hey, come on, man. Blaine, I'm going to reverse the tables here.
Why are you gay?
If you don't like Nickelback,
you are gay.
Sorry. Tell me you guys can't bullshit me here and say that when you hear, look at this photograph, every time I do it makes me laugh. I might actually get copyrighted here because I sound so much like it. I've got to not sing all these songs because I might get copyrighted here because I sound so much like them. But when you hear that shit, you can't just, oh God, I am. Bro, that shit hits me right here in the feels. Every time. Every memory of looking out the back door. I'm going to get on my motorbike after this, and I'm just going to go for a ride and listen to Nickelback for a while, in honor of the great patriots who love Nickelback in this chat. Check out the music video of Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols doing his version of My Way. I'm definitely going to check that out. That sounds awesome. Guys, Pink Floyd edged out Led Zeppelin by 2%. By 4%, sorry. 52 to 48. Wow. 200 votes on it as well. What's the next one we wanted to do? We had Michael Jackson, Prince. Spam it in the chat, guys. What's the next one we wanted to do? What did we have? We had, okay. Nickelback, obviously, is the next one we're going to do. Okay. Nickelback is awesome, terrible. We're going to see if this is like a culturally sophisticated chat or not at this stage. At this stage, we're going to see if this is a culturally sophisticated chat or not, because I don't really know. Come on, guys. Okay, awesome is just edging it so far. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Honestly, I think it's beta male conditioning if you think that Nickelback's not awesome. Because this happened over a number of years. I actually watched a YouTube video about this, about how the Nickelback hate started, and then everybody just jumped on the bandwagon. But Nickelback stays standing. They're still going, right? And then everybody just joined in on the hate campaign for some reason. Oh, Nickelback sucks, Nickelback sucks. And then, you know, in my debate yesterday, I made this point, right? You guys might have watched my debate yesterday with the feminists. I said, 1 billion wicked thoughts is one of the largest ever data sets that was ever collected on human sexual preferences. They did 1 billion different Google searches, and they went over 1 million different search histories, and they found when women are alone in the wee small hours of the morning, just alone with their desires, what they're really interested in. And the archetypes of vampire, werewolf, billionaire, surgeon, okay? It's alpha males, strong, powerful, high-status alpha males who succumb to the female heroine. That is the desire. So the point that I made was that these very feminists who are out here on the streets getting their tits out and screaming at the top of their lungs about patriarchy are going home and flicking their bean to a Chad werewolf or vampire. I think that we've got the exact same thing going on with the Nickelback hate. We've got all the people in the chat saying, oh, Nickelback sucks, Nickelback sucks, oh, look at me, I'm cool, Nickelback sucks. We'll be going home, headphones in, rocking out, doing the headbang to Nickelback in shame. But me, ladies and gentlemen, I don't do it in shame. I do it in the public eye, in the arena. That's exactly what I think is going on. Another 50. Intel is wild. Can we get some W's for Intel is wild in the chat, guys? Some incredible donos. Says, love you, Jake. Didn't want to derail anything. Love you too, bro. Love you too, man. Wrong one. Wait. Intel is wild. Wait, not that one. Where's the magic? What the magic is?
What the magic is? I'm so glad to see that.
3 Doors Down versus Creed. 3 Doors Down for me. Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Eric Clapton. That's got to be Eric Clapton, surely. I don't know who Stevie Ray Vaughan is. You should check out the band Skillet if you haven't never heard of them. Great group, great songs, and they're outspoken Christian. Christ is God, yes sir. Death metal reigns supreme. I hate death metal. Never understood it. And all the people who I've ever spoken to who are really into death metal, for some reason say it's relaxing. That's the logic that I get. People say, oh, I listen to this death metal, it's just like, it's relaxing for me. I mean, I watched the Piers Morgan interview with the serial killer the other day, that kid who's like a clinical psychopath, and he was like, basically, I read horror novels about the most messed up shit because it relaxes me. I think that people who listen to death metal as some form of relaxation have a sort of a similar thing going on. You know? Nothing can calm the mind except this absolute brutality, abomination, abortion music. That's death metal. The Beatles are commie atheists. That is actually true. That is actually true. Put the politics aside. The music's good. Guys, I'm actually so proud of the chat right now. Nickelback convincingly won. Nickelback is officially awesome. They're back, boys. They're back. Like, Nickelback is 100% back right now. And I'm so here for it. Black Dahlia murder versus Whitechapel, says Tengu. Tengu, who? What?
What the hell is even that?
Bruh. I mean, 3 Doors Down versus Creed is a good one. We'll go 3 Doors Down versus Creed. Oh. Who is better? 3 Doors Down versus Creed. I do like Creed, you know? I do like Creed. But 3 Doors Down would probably just get the nudge for me. That's good gym music. Is 3 Doors Down death metal? No. They're like punk rock. They're like nihilist punk rock. It's good gym music. If you guys have ever put that on. I've got a playlist that I could share with you guys called Fuck You, I Lift Heavy Shit. I could share my Spotify playlist with you guys. That's what it's called. Gets me motivated, you know? Alice in Chains.
What the hell is even that?
I guess we'll never know.
No idea who Alice in Chains is versus Nirvana. Surely if I don't know who they are, then they can't be better than Nirvana. Miss D wants Metallica versus Korn? Really, D? You want Metallica versus Korn? Could not tell you a single song out of any of them, but I'm pretty sure Korn is like, makes music about offing yourself and everything. I just don't want that energy around me, you know? There's certain music, like Stewie Peters' rap career, where I'm just like, I don't need that in my life, you know? I want to keep that out of my orbit. And there's certain music that's uplifting and enriching, you know, a lot of Christian music, this sort of stuff. I like that. I've been listening to a lot of Orthodox chants recently. Honestly, I listened to the Georgian and the Russian Orthodox chants. And when I was in Serbia last year, I went to to a liturgy, and the priest would like sing a song, the priest would hymn, and then the women in the back, the choir in the back would then mirror. One of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my life. I honestly think that if there was the sound of heaven, the closest thing that you can possibly get to the sound of heaven would be these Orthodox chants. If you guys are ever studying, working, that's a good thing. Johnny Cash versus Hank Williams Jr. We have to get through Creed. Creed and Three Doors Down are currently 50-50, guys. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds. But Johnny Cash has got to win that one. Guys, surely Johnny Cash has got to win that one. These are unbelievably close. Kind of surprised by that. Johnny Cash, in my opinion, is one of the best songwriters ever to walk the earth. He's one of my favorites as well. And the reason why is because I believe that the art of songwriting is done in the minutiae, with the minute detail, right? And I don't mean that it has to be super detailed. I mean, if you can convey a really good story and you can do it in the simplest way possible, in the fewest words possible, but you can take somebody on a journey, I mean, that is the best of the best. A lot of people overdo it with songwriting. Johnny Cash, have you ever listened to the song Delia's Gone? One of my favorite Johnny Cash songs, if not my favorite. It's literally about him killing his girlfriend or killing his wife. But there's this whole element of it. First of all, he's just sort of frankly and plainly stating how she crossed him. He then describes how he does it. And then he describes how he goes to prison. And he goes, Delia, oh Delia, Delia, all my life. If I hadn't met poor Delia, I'd probably met her for my wife. And he goes, what does it say? Delia... he goes, jailer, oh jailer, jailer, I can't sleep, because all around my bedside I hear the patter of Delia's feet. Even just that line is genius, because it takes you on this whole journey where he's been betrayed, he kills the woman, you're like, whoa, Delia, do you have to do Delia like that? And then he goes, and then it shows this sort of other side to him. I hear the patter of Delia's feet. The love is still there. It's like the regret, the remorse, the love's still there in such a simple way. Brilliant songwriter. And also the song I Hung My Head from Johnny Cash as well. That is an incredible piece of songwriting. He's talking about such morbid things, but he manages to make you sort of sympathetic with the person who did it, because it's almost this sort of biblical, in a way, sort of representation of the person and their sin and their deep longing. And I don't know. I think Johnny Cash is maybe the best songwriter ever to live. Creed wins, guys. Yeah, the song Hurt is actually a Nine Inch Nails song. People are saying Hurt, but Johnny Cash came in and just made it his own. But Hurt is actually a Nine Inch Nails song. And the lead singer of Nine Inch Nails came out and basically said it's his. Because Johnny Cash did that in his older age with the scars of old age. And he came out and did this cover of Hurt. And it was just an incredible cover. And the lead singer of Nine Inch Nails was like, it's his now. Sometimes someone does something so much better than you that we just have to give it to him. All right, so we're going, who is better? And who was it? Johnny Cash and Hank Williams Jr. There's another songwriter who's an Australian guy called Paul Kelly. If you Americans ever want to listen to really, really good songwriting, listen to the Australian guy Paul Kelly, okay? And he's got a song called Deeper Water. One of the best songs I've ever heard. Because with me, when I listen to music, I'm obsessed with lyrics. I can't just listen to a song and not know what they mean by it, you know? Some of my favorite songs like Vienna, Billy Joel, the songwriting behind that, the story behind it is amazing. Even like Don McLean, the song Vincent, about Vincent van Gogh, amazing song. And then Paul Kelly, the song Deeper Water, literally takes you through 3 generations of life in one song. And it's really simple, but it takes you through this whole journey. You have to watch and read the lyrics while you're listening to it. So Paul Kelly, amazing songwriter. where are we at? For the Aussies, Midnight Oil, nah. Yeah. Greeny. He's too green. Commie. And it reflects in his music too much. I don't like it. Johnny Cash's rendition of Hurt gives me the chills. Yeah, it does. Yamaha Banshee says, you should check out a band called Thrice. Their songs are heavily Christian and philosophy based. Via Shoe is arguably their best album. Interesting. Max says, Carl Silberdorf and Dick Toops wrote Delia's Gone for Johnny Cash. Most of his songs are written by other people. No way. Why would you do me like that? No way. I have to go and research this for myself. Delia's Gone is traditional American. Let me look at it on screen for you. You guys can see it too. Delia's Gone is a traditional American ballad rooted in 1900 murder of 14-year-old Delia Green in Savannah, Georgia. The specific modern commercial version popularized by Johnny Cash was co-written and credited to Silberdorf, Dick Toops, and Johnny Cash, evolving out of older tradition folk standard. True story. It's based on the Christmas Eve killing of Delia Green. Johnny Cash first recorded it. If you'd like, the lyric. Let me try and find some more information about it, because that's actually, yeah. Into detail about who wrote it. Let's see what comes up. No single person wrote Delia's Gone. It's a century-old traditional folk song that evolved through an oral history, early blues musicians and mid-century arrangers. The creation and evolution of the song can be broken down in 3 distinct historical phases. The real event, first documentation, first recording. African-American blues artist Reese Dupree made the first commercial recording of the ballad. I didn't know this. I had no idea. Wow. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. That's rattled me, honestly. Mr. Normal says, I don't like metal music because bad vibes, but this awesome song about unaliving your wife is so awesome. Look, it's the way that the story is told that I appreciate. It's like you're conflicted, right? It's the same with all of the movies that I really like watching. Like my favorite movies are Good Will Hunting, Shutter Island, like things like Donnie Darko. What were some of the ones that me and Andrew were watching a bunch of these psychological thrillers. Count of Monte Cristo was a really good one. I like those psychological thrillers where you don't you're a bit conflicted after it. You don't know what to think, and you feel a bit almost guilty for having certain responses to the song or to the movie. And Leonardo DiCaprio, you're like, is he crazy? Is he not crazy? We don't know. Sometimes I watch that and I'm like, maybe he's not crazy. But I think the contention of the movie is that he's crazy in Shutter Island. But then I think, but are they trying to convince me that he's crazy? You know? So, I don't know. I like music and movies that sort of mess with you a little bit. Nick Cave, Australian, is my favourite songwriter. I haven't really listened to too much of his songs, but he's a very famous guy. Johnny Curry says, I would like to second the absolute Chad that recommended Thrice. The Issue is a fantastic album. Well, now I'm definitely going to have to check it out after this. Robert Palmer or Peter Gabriel? I don't know, guys. I don't know who those are. I think we should go MJ vs. Prince. That'd be funny. MJ vs. Prince. Johnny Cash overwhelmingly won that one. MJ vs. Prince could be fun though. Michael Jackson, Prince. I know who I'm going for. I don't want to poison the well here, but I mean MJ. Can we seriously? I've been listening to Human Nature a lot recently. If they say why. That is an absolute freaking tune, ladies and gents. Human Nature is such a banger. Love that song. And obviously the rest of them as well. But MJ, they just need to let the brother rest in peace, if I'm honest. But in saying that, I did watch that Netflix thing that came out recently, and he's literally on camera saying to the kid, he sleeps in my bed. I want to be with my brothers and sisters over there and say that they're persecuting him because he's black and stuff, or they're persecuting him because of the Jewish music industry and the handlers and everything, but bro, he's on camera saying, I just let the little child sleep in my bed. It's not sexual. It's not sexual. He just sleeps in my bed. At that point, I'm like, okay. You get the feeling that MJ's a guy who just never grew up, hey? Like his human growth was stunted because he was a child star and like never had a childhood. So he just remained in that childlike mentality his whole entire life. Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump or Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan? Forrest Gump is one of my favorite movies of all time as well, but it's also kind of a horror story. Can you imagine this, guys? Like, imagine you're Forrest. Imagine you're Forrest Gump. You are a simple man, but you go out to the military, all right? You become a national champion in ping pong. You gain international recognition for your running, okay? Everybody knows you. You're a celebrity. You also like win the lotto or whatever happens in that movie. He comes into millions and millions of dollars, so he's extremely rich. He's tall. He's Tom Hanks. He's got all of this social status and notoriety, an Olympian for ping pong. And then he still simps for this single mother with AIDS. Like, is that, you guys get that same notion? All of this, Forrest Gump's got a lot going on for him. He may not be the most charismatic man in the world, but he's got a lot happening for him, and then he still has to go and try and simp for the single mother with AIDS. That's a horror story. That's a horror story if I've ever heard it. Listen to Thrice. They're amazing. The songwriting and the artist in the ambulance is phenomenal. I don't think they are Christian, but amazing. Yeah. And the single mother with AIDS didn't tell him that it's his kid. Like, she's out there naked, performing in front of men. Remember that scene? How many roads must a man walk down, singing Bob Dylan? And Forrest comes and tries to save her, Captain Save-A-Ho. Okay? She's on drugs and everything. And then eventually, once she's done with her partying years, once she's done with performing naked in front of men, and once she's done with everything like that, and she's contracted HIV and is a single mother, and now it's time for Forrest to come in and take responsibility for his kid. Horror story. Beastie Boys or Run DMC? That could be a good one. Michael Jackson is probably the best lyricist of all time. Controversy aside, he's really the GOAT. Also, the dude who killed him only got 5 years. R.I.P. MJ. Yeah. The Alchemy Index by Thrice is one of my favorite albums of all time, specifically because the Fire volume. Go listen now even. I agree with this chat. Bone Thugs. I was literally raised by this music. Bone Thugs and Harmony. The song I Tried. Bro, I remember being at the bus stop when I was 12. I remember being at the bus stop when I was 12 with Bone Thugs and Harmony in my head. The song I Tried. It's like, the lyrics are like, I tried so hard, can't seem to get away from misery. I tried so hard, basically like the streets, the trouble from the streets keeps following me, you know? Hoping one day you'll come and rescue me. And then it says, first let me explain that I'm just a black man and I come from the dark side, so I'm having a hard time staying on track, man. I remember being at the bus stop when I was 12, just like thinking that this is basically my life in my little uniform going to school. First let me explain that I'm just a black man and I come from the dark side, so I'm having a hard time staying on track, man. Anyway, it's basically my childhood, guys. I related to that shit. I related to that. Eminem, Infinite, or Rap God? Look, Eminem was amazing back in his day. All right, Biggie or Tupac, that's a good one. Michael Jackson wins against Prince. I think rightfully so. Okay, who's better? Biggie or Tupac? Tupac was definitely more prolific in my opinion. Biggie had a better flow. Biggie was a better lyricist, but Tupac was just such a hard worker. Unbelievably prolific artist. So if I had to say so, I'd probably say Tupac myself, but Biggie was more talented. I'm pretty sure Tupac was gay though. You guys ever seen those old videos of Tupac being like just looking extremely camp and effeminate when he was younger? Let's see if I can find it. Should be pretty easy to find. Should be pretty easy to find. Here we go. First thing that comes up. Like.
Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tamalpais High School, and I'm 17 years old.
Okay. Do you like being 17?
It's like 17 is such a weird age. It's such a in the middle age. You're not 18 yet.
Seems like a gay man to me, guys. Like, I don't know how you go from this to first off, fuck your bitch and I click your claim. I don't know how you go from that to from this to that.
You're older than 16, so. But I like it. It's nice. It's like a learning stage for me.
Do you wish you could be 18 and when you get some more rights?
Well, 18 will bring lots of responsibilities that I don't want, but it'll bring respect that I feel like that's the only way I can get it.
He's doing this, the only way I can get it. Look, Barnaby Jones here in the chat says all rappers are gay. Like, the more I look into this shit, guys, the more I think that there could be a point. Like, if we want to talk about real conspiracies here, Diddy was a batty boy. Diddy was a definite batty boy. I'm not going to tell you guys to go and watch this, but there's a security guard who, or go listen to this. It's one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard in my life. But there's a security guard who recorded on his phone Diddy and Meek Mill in the room together after like a Diddy party. And it is, yeah, the most scarring thing I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, Diddy was a batty boy. Tupac kind of seems like a batty boy here. If they ever come out and say that Biggie was playing for the wrong team, bro, you can't, no, surely no, it can't, Biggie can't be. Biggie was working with Diddy and he was at all the parties and everything. Like if Diddy was just a straight up batty boy, then, I mean, Biggie would at least know about it, right? Meek Mill, certified butt pirate. The only one who seems like the real one at the moment is 50 Cent.
You know, I try to be as mature as I can be and demand it wherever I can get it. But 18 is like, you're an adult. You like today when I had to sign the release form, I felt so bad because I couldn't sign it myself. I had to go and get my mother's and all that. But 18 it's just society's way of saying that you're ready. But 17, like I think I'm ready now, as ready as I'm gonna be. And
Tupac was from a single mother home as well. Didn't have his father around. Looks extremely effeminate here.
This world, but so it's okay. I guess 17 is all right.
Right. Well, how do you think you're most like your mom?
I'm most like my mom because I'm arrogant. Totally arrogant. I agree. I have to say it. Like at work, I can't hold a job. I just quit my job today, actually. Because
Look at the flick of that wrist, son. What is he trying to shoot hoops or something? Look at that.
Like at work, I
Watch
can't
this. Watch
hold
the
the
flick of that
job.
wrist.
I just quit.
Boom. That is like a less than 90-degree angle, all right? If you look at it, that's meant to be camp. Buddy has his... I can't even do that. Look. How does he even do like that, maybe? Maybe it's my wrist mobility, but
my job today actually because I wanted to come and do this, and they wouldn't let me, and I felt like it was important, and it was more important than serving pizza, and we had enough people, so I felt like since I'm an actor, they should understand. They should have let me do it, but they didn't, and then I had a cold, so they were making me work in a freezer, and I'm really not one to be disrespected, and I felt like that was disrespectful because I asked to go, you know.
if you watch this and then you go and listen to the song Toss It Up, it's a stark contrast, we'll just put it that way. You know? Or if you watch this and then you go listen to the song Fair Exchange by Tupac, they tell two different stories, put it this way.
So I quit, and he told me I couldn't quit, and that even made me hyper. I'm arrogant, so when he told me I couldn't quit and we had all these customers, I chose that time to jump on a soapbox, grab my leather jacket, light a cigarette in front of him, smoke, and leave.
This is maybe not safe for children in the room, guys, but I'm going to look up just the lyrics that come up. I won't read them all, but I'm going to look up the lyrics to Toss It Up by Tupac. Okay? Since you supplied your phone number, I can't help but call. Time for action. Just so that people can see that it's on screen here. Time for action, conversating, we relax and kicking back. Got you curious, thug passion. Now picture that tongue kissing, handful of hair, looking in my eyes. Time to make the bed rock. Baby, look how it rise. Okay, I can't do it anymore. Somebody's going to Ben Shapiro that. Somebody's going to Ben Shapiro me if I do that. Okay. So I know someone is going to put the acoustics behind it. That'll kickstart that rap career I've always dreamed of. All right, Tupac wins against Biggie, guys. Poll is over. Jenny was an awful human being. The filmmakers in Forrest Gump didn't emphasize how terrible she is and just went with the misunderstood angle. That bugs me the most about the movie. Yeah, because Forrest is such a lovable character in that movie. Forrest Gump is so lovable, you know? And you're like, dude, he deserves better. Like, are we just going to gloss over the fact that you didn't tell him that that's his child? And then he just comes simping back, okay, I love you, Jenny. Jenny. Bro, that's his kid. You didn't tell him it's his kid. Completely agree. All right, Radiohead versus Coldplay. It's a good one. That's actually a tough one. I'm going to go Radiohead myself. Okay. Got that title wrong. Luckily didn't post it. I'm going to go Radiohead myself because I'd never really loved Coldplay. Radiohead have some great songs. Karma Police, great song. Was it Fake Plastic Trees? Another good one. Creep, obviously, famous one. Not Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Did anybody see the thing that I did the other day about American sport on X? We can go through that while we're waiting. Let me show you guys. Because I think I'm really onto something here. And Americans who watch sport, I think that hopefully you guys will agree with me largely about this one. All right, so here's my thesis, and I want to get your take on this, guys. So I went to pretty much every major sport in the USA. One thing I noticed about America is that there is a noticeable distinction between the sporting fan bases that correlates with racial stereotypes. So NBA, pure athleticism, bravado, not a sport that relies on deep thought. Perfect sport for African Americans. They love watching it and playing it, but it's pretty universal. Similar with NFL, but far more tactical. The white people seem to do better in this sport, like Tom Brady, for example, than they do in the NBA because it requires a higher tactical IQ. Baseball, low IQ, boring sport that requires a very basic skill set. Even the athletes are often chubby. It's a terrible sport. Would rather shit in my hands and clap than ever go to a game again. Stadium was full of Mexicans, which makes a lot of sense. Except for the VIP and the members tiers where the whites would segregate. I noticed that. I was down with all the Mexicans at the start. Very boring, like watching grass grow, don't know why they like it. They don't really have to concentrate. I think that's one of the things. They don't really have to concentrate too much. And then you go upstairs to the VIP section, to the upper tiers, and I got into that section, and there was all just white people there. So they literally segregation. Ice hockey, great sport, highly entertaining, highly tactical, friendly atmosphere, sophisticated crowd of predominantly whites. What I noticed. I went to a Predators game in Nashville, really enjoyed that. Predators is my team. And then soccer, mostly ethnic at this stage, so all the different ethnic minorities, particularly the Latin Americans. But Americans are slowly coming around to the beautiful world game, and the potential is massive. And the reason why the potential is massive, guys, is because I have a theory that some of the best players in the world are of mixed race, inheriting the game IQ from the white side of their parents, and then the athleticism from the black side. Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe, Jamal Musiala, to name a few. And America has a lot of this. If you watch America dominating the Olympics, oftentimes it's like the mixed race guys in terms of the sports that they dominate. And then NASCAR is just the absolute worst that white culture has to offer, as far as I can see. So let me know what you guys think. Tim Gordon disagreed with me. He said, you think soccer is more tactical and less boring than baseball? Guys, like, there's no competition. Football is one of the most tactical games in the entire world. To even suggest that baseball is more tactical than soccer, you have to be out of your freaking mind as far as I'm concerned. Baseball might be one of the worst sports I've ever seen in my life. Baseball. Literally, I went to a Los Angeles Clippers versus Angels game, and it was an Angels home game, and I got the hat. Angels didn't score a hot point the whole game. Not 1 point. And I'm like, all right, can we get one? And every time they'd wait 5 minutes, and then they'd stand on the tee, and they'd throw it at them 3, 4, 5 times. Strike, strike, strike. And the guy walks away. And I was like, that cannot be it. Is that what you get paid for? He stands there. Hey, batter, batter, batter. Strike, misses it. Strike, misses it. Strike, misses it. And then he walks back to the bench. And I'm like, what? And occasionally some guy would make a connection and he'd run to first base and stand there for 20 minutes. And then there's all this shit that goes on in between. It's like, guys, it's not that physically demanding. You don't need the 5-minute breaks in between. Just keep the freaking thing running. Horrible sport. Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society, in Good Will Hunting or Dead Poets Society. Ooh, he was phenomenal in both of them. He was phenomenal. I'm not going to give my bias here. I'm just going to put this one up. And then I'll give my reasoning later. But this is a good one. Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, Dead Poets Society. That's a good question. See if anyone's chimping out. And also Jay-Z or Nas, says Smokey Bear Bad. Separate the boys from the men. It's Nas. I don't even think we need to put that one up. It's Nas. Jay-Z. Yeah, people mentioning cricket. Cricket is also a terrible sport, though. My least favorite sports in the world are baseball, cricket, and surfing. I can't stand any of those sports. Surfing, because it's got literally the worst culture of any sport in the world. Like, if you go to any major break around the world, you're going to have a bunch of these absolute filthy, unkempt, unshowered groms telling you, this is our wave, bro. You can't surf here, bro. Get off the wave, bro. You cut me up, bro. Like they own the ocean or something like that. And they'll literally try and fight you, and they'll try and like gang bash you for coming and surfing at their spot. Bro, surfing culture has to be the worst culture. And they're all just wankers. Like, surfers, why do you think you're so cool? Like, other people who do other sports don't have this chip on their shoulder thinking that they're so cool because they do the sport. You're not cool because you surf. Like, shut up. Have a shower, honestly. Have a shower. Wash your hair, okay? Maybe get a haircut. Freaking hate surfing. I'd rather go watch badminton or play badminton than go surfing. honestly. Have a shower. All right. So the chat is right about this, guys. The chat is right about this Good Will Hunting versus Dead Poets Society. They've got Good Will Hunting. And look, Dead Poets Society is phenomenal, but you just cannot escape the fact that the park bench scene in Good Will Hunting is one of the most brilliant things you will ever see in your life. And from what I've heard, I'm pretty sure this is true, and I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure Robin Williams was spitballing. Maybe he planned it to an extent, but I'm pretty sure the park bench scene in Good Will Hunting, one of the greatest movie scenes of all time, I think the greatest monologue of all time in any movie. I'm pretty sure he was sort of going off the cuff with that. Did Robin Williams go off script for the park bench scene? All right. So, yes, while the overall emotional structure of the famous park bench scene in Good Will Hunting was scripted, Robin Williams went off script to improvise the hilarious story about his late wife's flatulence habits. So the real laughter, Matt Damon's laughter during the story, was entirely genuine because he did not know Robin Williams was going to say it. Shaking camera, the camera operator actually shook and drifted slightly during the take because the crew was trying to hold back their own laughter. The final line confusion, the famous unscripted son of a bitch, he stole my line moment, often associated with the iconic ending, actually happened during a different scene. I don't know if this is telling me the same story here. Did Robin Williams write or improvise the park bench scene? Why are they... This AI is saying that the park bench scene is when he said it's not your fault. That's not the same scene. No, not it's not your fault. The scene where he says your move, sport. Different. All right, the famous Boston Public Gardens bench speech, which actually ends with "Your move, Chief," that's right, was fully written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Despite Robin Williams' famous reputation for improvising, he stuck completely to the script for this specific monologue, perfectly memorized. Matt Damon recalls that when they were doing pre-production table reads at a hotel, Williams had arrived having completely memorized the massive 2-page monologue word for word. The impact on the writers. Listening to Williams deliver those written words for the first time was the exact moment Damon and Affleck knew their movie was going to be something truly special. The "Your Move, Chief" became so iconic that after Williams passed away, the fans flooded the actual Boston Public Gardens bench and covered it in chalk art, writing that exact quote at his feet. Incredible scene. Gives me chills thinking about it, actually. Mel Gibson or Tom Hardy? Stanley Kubrick versus Quentin Tarantino. Let's do that one. That's a good one. Who is better? Stanley Kubrick. Quentin Tarantino. You know what's funny? I never really got into Tarantino movies until Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like Kill Bill, I could never really get into. I liked Inglourious Bastards. It was a pretty good movie and everything, but then his like mobster movies were good, but then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought that was such a good movie. That final scene where they just flipped the script, I had no idea that was coming. That was cool. That was very cool. Matt Damon. Classic South Park. Matt Damon. Tropic Thunder, one of the bests, yeah. Kubrick by a mile, I reckon. Inglourious Bastards. I liked Inglourious Bastards, but I tell you what, Reservoir Dogs is a great movie. I liked Inglourious Bastards, but I tell you what put me off it was the fact that I studied it in media in year 12. So I watched it like 5 times and we went through every single scene and it was just like, it was a lot. So that was tough. I liked the movie, but I just think I went over it in such exhaustive detail for media studies in school. So Tarantino is just edging out Kubrick at this stage here, guys. Just edging him out. But if we get to 100 votes, we'll settle it though. The score will be settled if we get to 100 votes. Okay? Can we get to the necessary 100 votes? I'd have to go Tarantino myself. I think that's chosen wisely, if I'm honest. Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees, whoever that is. Tom Cruise, Top Gun, or Last Samurai. Anyway. All right, nearly midday over here, guys. 50-50 at the moment here. Nearly midday over here, guys. I do need to check out. I need to go and eat something. Need to go and do my thing. But I need to get this over 50-50. There we go. Kubrick wins, guys. The Kubrick stands just came out in force towards the end. Anyway. I am going to love you and leave you guys. Appreciate you all being with me today. Nearly 3 hours later. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.